All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the House of Auger Show. My name is JT Auger. I'm the man of the house, and with me tonight are my co-hosts, Joel and Nicole, Adam LaHood, Adam Bates, Sativa might be here, McIntyre's here. I like calling him Mac. Does anybody remember the 50s when people called people Mac? It was like
Movies,
instead of Buddy.
In the movies, not in reality. We're not that old yet.
It happened in reality. Movies and reality are the same.
I'm just saying we don't remember the reality because we're not that old. We only remember from the movies.
So this is the Tuesday, March 5th, 2019 episode. I forgot to do that last time, so I want to make sure I get that done this time. So we're going to talk about a bunch of things. First, I'd like to get out. Oh, yeah, disclaimers and stuff. We will not be recording the show chat. When we put up the recordings show, it will just be the audio. And I know we decided that last time, but I want to make sure that that's clear to everyone so that you all feel safe and posting your horrific shit that you usually do. And which brings me to the next disclaimer. This is not a family-friendly show. If you are easily offended, please leave now. What else is there? I think that's it for disclaimers.
Yeah.
I would like to say, or take a moment to acknowledge Keith Flint of
Prodigy.
The Prodigy. Sorry, I had a
Mind fart?
brain freeze right there for a moment. So Keith Flint died just a couple days ago. He committed suicide, which is very sad.
Yeah.
I did not follow them after the 90s, but I understand that they were still going strong up until recently, like they were still playing and stuff. As far as I know, they were rather transformative in the 90s. They were a big
they were
change. They were I was reading comments on a Reddit post about the news of this suicide, and it was very sad because a lot of people were talking about just how important their debut album Fat of the Land back in 93, how important that was. I guess the electronic music community kind of viewed that, at least industry-wise, they viewed that as the Prodigy's sellout album. But for a lot of fans and a lot of people, that music, it was groundbreaking at the time. There was really nothing like it. It was a definite mixture of electronica and rock, and just it was a different sound. It was a different
it really
feel.
was.
There was so you couldn't, for a few years there. I'd say throughout the 90s, really, there was nowhere you couldn't go anywhere without hearing one of these Prodigy songs. The Firestarter, Smack My Bitch Up. These songs are timeless now. You can hear them. Everybody recognizes those songs, and they're amazing songs. They really were. And are they? So I just feel very sad that he's gone.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that he had taken his own life. I knew he had died, but
he committed suicide.
Yeah.
I guess he hung himself.
I mean, famous musicians, there's one of two possibilities. It's 50-50 shot of suicide or drug overdose. So
I assume drug overdose like I normally do.
Well,
you
had a 50-50 shot and you guessed wrong.
Yep.
What's so frustrating to me is that all the people, I keep seeing celebrities and musicians who I remember from my youth, and who I swear, like, got old overnight. Like, what happened? Who was it that I saw recently? I saw what's his name? Moranis? I want to say his first name's Greg. The Honey, I Shrunk the Kid guy.
Oh yeah,
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis, not
Yeah.
Greg. You know who I think I was mixing? I think I was mixing Greg Louganis.
That's what I was.
Which I don't know why I was, but I was trying to think, like, why did I think his name was Greg? And that's what my head said to me. So, but yeah, I saw Rick Moranis. I saw him at some event, and he was talking to somebody, you know, one of those people on the side of the red carpet, you know, microphone,
Right.
and you know, trying to get sound bites from the stars as they go by. I guess he was at some event, and man, all this, I was like, dude, is that you? You got old. What happened? And it's just like, I don't like it because it makes me. It's too connected to my own mortality, and I don't like that at all. I'm not supposed to be able to get old, and the fact that they're getting old makes me aware that I'm older, and that's not appropriate at all.
It's a weird feeling. I know.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like, I'm still 21, as far as
Exactly.
I know. So, but on to other things. I want to have kind of a California crazy news corner where we talk about because there's some crazy shit going on in California right now. At least some of the stuff that I've recently been made aware of, it might not be that current, but some of it. But first, and I'd like to take a moment. Can we unmute Pony Girl? Where is she at? There she is. Is she unmuted? She's probably not.
She is now.
There, now she is.
You're
Hey.
unmuted.
I literally just put gas in my car. Give me like 2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. I'm gonna break the story. So there's a thing happening here in Cali, at our Santa Anita racetrack. Oh, this is funny. We're gonna listen to. I guess we better mute her until she's ready.
I just muted her.
All right. So
there we go.
You are very easily distractible.
There's a thing
that was
going
like
on.
A small background noise.
Yeah. There's a thing going on at the Santa Anita racetrack. Here, I have a thing for this. Hang on. Here we go. So in they just had their 21st horse death in the last 2 months. 21 horses have died at the Santa Anita racetrack. Yeah, 7 of those deaths happened since the beginning of the year. It just seems, and they're saying, everybody who reports on it is like, this is remarkable. Like, this is unprecedented. This doesn't happen normally. So I'm over here wondering what the fuck is going on over at Santa Anita. And I guess some people are claiming, like, PETA's all pissed off about it. You know, PETA's always pissed. But I kind of like they have a legitimate gripe here. What the fuck? It just seems nobody seems to be able to get definitive
reason.
Yeah, I know that I guess that people are initially blaming the weather. We've had a lot of inclement.
Yeah,
whatever. We've had a lot of weather. That's not normal for California. A lot of rain, a lot of thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's been colder and rainier for y'all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Over the last 2 months, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But I find that hard to believe. I don't know, and this is kind of why I want Pony Girl to.
Oh yeah,
or Nicole Cannon.
Nicole
Cannon is. Yeah, she went to school for this kind of stuff. She knows all about horses. She grew up with horses. So if anybody has any ability to shed some light on this, I'd love to hear what she has to say.
Her. Yeah.
But So they shut down the track after the 19th or 20th. It had to be after the 20th horse death, for a couple of days to have some experts or the California Horse Racing Board come out and take a look at the track to make sure that the soil was okay and safe.
Yeah.
And they gave it, the green light. They opened the track back up after a couple of days, and bam, there's your 21st horse. And your 21st horse, I guess it broke its front right leg. It just seems shocking to me. Like, really? I find that hard to believe that just a fucked up track could cause 21 horses to die. That seems crazy to me.
All right,
Well,
Nicole
yeah.
is unmuted.
They were all or mostly euthanized.
As far as I know, they're all been euthanized.
Oh, she is unmuted. Hey, there she is.
Hey!
So as far as I read into the story,
Uh-huh.
all but one of the horses, all but like the 16th horse or something stupid, was mechanical failure, and I use mechanical failure in the terms that it was skeletal, what happened to the horse, and not a heart attack. One of the horses died of a heart attack, which when you're racing horses is not normal, but it's sort of to be expected, 1 in 1,000,
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you get to mechanical failure and you have 20 horses in 3 months breaking legs, you have to look at what the track initially looked at, which was the footing. And when you have rainy weather, you get sloppy footing.
Okay.
And what I don't think that people understand about racing is that those animals are worth some money. And when you have animals that are worth a lot of money, you don't do what Allison is suggesting they do, and you don't not take care of it. Okay? I have worked with racehorse people. I have worked with racehorse people. I have worked with after the track people. My own animal was an old racehorse. Okay? She wouldn't have come to me in such good if she wasn't taken care of.
Right.
Right.
So the shut down and looked at their sloppy footing, and they got some wahoo to tell them that, footing's A-okay. Well, it can't be. If you have animals breaking legs, you have sloppy footing. And just like you're not going to drive your very nice sports car road in New Jersey with potholes, you're not going to run your horses on a track that they're going to break.
Right.
On the grass too.
They're breaking them on the grass. Joel says they're breaking them on the grass as well.
Grass track
on the grass track as well as the dirt.
When you install horse footing, and I use horse footing, grass or dirt, whatever. When you install something used for animals to be on in a professional manner, it's not just grass. It's not just dirt. There is a whole $100,000 process for a 100-foot section of racetrack that goes into grading the dirt 6 feet down from the track that you.
Oh.
It's dust, it's hard clay, it's this, that, and the other. And when you have all those layers coming together, you have all those layers that can come apart.
Right.
My best guess is that you have not your footing layer, but your hard surface layer, which would be your hard packed clay, is deteriorating that racetrack, and it's not being caught. You have potholes in places that they can't find.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So it sounds like they're gonna have more injuries probably, since they're saying it's like.
I would say that you're gonna get a lot more.
Jeez.
Here's my cure. See, when I first heard about this, being that I don't know enough about this, my first inclination was to think something fishy's going on. Like, this is not normal. Like, did somebody not pay somebody off and somebody's like taking it out on the horses? Like, what's going on? Is this mafia related? What's going on? Are horse heads going to be showing up in people's beds? What's the deal? That was my first thought, but now understanding a little better that it's the track, my curiosity is, or my first question is, why does it take 19 to 20 deaths before they stop and shut down the track and take a look at things?
Well, you have to look historically. Last year, there was 14 dead horses by this point in the year.
Are you serious?
So is this not
horse racing is very, very hard on the animals, and this is a very long, heated discussion. But the gist of it is that the animals that you see running the Kentucky Derby aren't more than 3 years old. They're babies.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, that gives you a real view on it.
Yeah, I have a question in mind, but this makes me want to ask it even more now, knowing that they're only 3 years old. What is your view? What's the general view on horse racing? Is this considered humane? Is it considered inhumane? What is the horse community, equestrians? How do they feel about this? Because it seems a little inhumane.
Horse people are the worst people to ask this because we all have differing opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you get all the way to one side, you get industry, it's a business, they're animals, they're treated like investors.
What happened?
Lost her?
She's in the car.
She's in the car driving, so she may have lost signal. There she is.
Sorry.
You're cutting out, sweetheart.
Where did you lose me?
You were saying horse. Some people say it's a business, it's an industry, and the horses are treated like a commodity.
Yeah, so you get the one side of this argument. It's a very big argument in the horse community.
Okay.
Because obviously there are a million ways to do things, and my the only way to do it.
Exactly like cattle, then.
It's exactly like anything, any industry to do.
Right.
So one side of that, you have people that it's an industry, it's business. If these horses weren't racing, what would they be doing? Which would be dying. They would be food. And the other side of it is almost like PETA-ish, where this is inhumane, this is cruel, we're forcing them to do something they don't want to do. Which is also, in a sense, true. It's a whole sort of back and forth of truth, and you have to look at it like, no, these animals were not meant to be stressed like that early in life. Just like humans, horses have growth plates, and they don't close until they're 6 or 7 years old. So when you're running horses as 3-year-olds, it's a 6-7-year-old kid run a marathon. Their bones aren't up to it.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, this is something I learned.
So how do you justify that?
How do you justify what? Because there's a lot of justification that go on.
It's not a justification. That's just an excuse. Like, how do you justify that equivalent of saying, you just said, it's like having your 6-year-old run a marathon, their bones aren't ready for it. So how do you justify that, knowing that that's the equivalent? How do you justify, let's do this with these horses? I mean, money's not really a justification, is it?
Really outraged. If you want to hear something that'll make you really outraged, the long bones in a horse aren't solidified until they're 6 years old. So the long bones in a horse, their leg bones, are still cartilage in the center when they're racing them in the Kentucky Derby. That fucked up.
That's very fucked up.
I
mean, I'm laughing, but only out of shock and awe. Like, wow, man, that's
the whole thing that you don't understand, that people, the general public, doesn't know, and that's what keeps part of the industry running.
Can you imagine if there was some part of the world where they were forcing children to engage in some sort of physical sport that where died 2 months into the year, that's normal. We have that many deaths annually by this time of the year. It's probably the track.
Have you ever seen the videos that come out of Chinese gymnastics academies?
Oh, no. I don't think I have.
If you ever get the chance, go watch them force 3-year-olds to do splits, and you'll understand what's happening in the horse racing industry.
You know what? Speaking of force people to do splits, I remember seeing, this years ago, I saw I think there was documentary about sumo wrestlers, and they were, I guess, even though sumos are big, they have to be very limber, and so they were forcing them to spread their legs and kind of do a split steal. And this one kid, a young sumo, new to the, I guess, game or whatever, he's in the training. There's a bunch of these sumo wrestlers all doing this stretching exercise together, and he couldn't quite get his legs completely stretched out, and so they fucking set, like 2 or 3 people sit on him, and he's like groaning, oh, and you're like, Jesus Christ, this is not, that's not acceptable. You can't just do that to people. But I guess, you know, I don't know, no pain, no gain, I guess.
So the justification for running young animals like that is that, first off, it's a time over money thing. So it takes money every month, every day, every week to raise these animals. And if they're just as fast as 5-year-olds as they are as 3-year-olds, or they actually start racing horses as early as 18 months.
Whoa.
Yeah, it fucks you up, right? They'll start racing as early as 18 months. If they're just as fast then as they are when they're 5, why not just race them then, get a couple good years out of them, and get rid of them?
Well, they're expensive, right?
Yeah, they're expensive.
I don't know, man. It just seems...
What they're doing by horse racing is trying to make back the money that they put into them. Can't make back their money on every horse, which is why there's 1 million horses racing. In the hopes that one of them is like a grade 2, grade 3, grade 1 stakes winner and makes back some of the money you spent on the other ones. It's gambling. It's all gambling.
Wow. I don't have a problem with gambling per se. Most gambling deals with cards. You know what I mean? Or dice or something like that. You don't have to feel bad about the dice because the dice will get old and then you have to put the dice down. I don't know. I don't give a fuck about people mostly, but animals I kind of care about. So that's kind of fucked up.
So the justification in my head, because I am opposed to horse racing, even though it might sound like it, I'm not.
Okay.
Because I have seen the care that the majority of these animals get, and I know the standards that are placed, stress that is placed to keep healthy horses. You know, if those horses weren't racing, like if they did with horse racing what they did with greyhound racing in Florida, they're just going to go somewhere else where they think they can make money. You're not going to stop a whole industry.
Yeah, no, well, especially it's so ingrained. It's
so ingrained. And so you take care of these animals, and do the right thing, and you race them, and you take care of them, and you ride them, and you take care of them, and then when they're done running or they're not fast enough, which is what it comes down to, you take care of them. It's fine. Like, I got my horse. She was a semi-fast racehorse. And they were like, yeah, this horse is kind of nice. So she made 7 babies over her 11-year breeding career. And then they were like, this can't make any more babies. We're going to give it away. And I got her.
Oh, wow.
So my horse could have ended up on a meat truck, but she didn't because the people cared about her.
On a meat truck?
Yeah, people eat horses.
Yeah.
In America?
They ship them to Canada and Mexico in these horrendous, like, Holocaust-type conditions, and then they hit them in the head with the bolt guns so that the French Canadians can eat them.
Yeah,
Are you fucking kidding me? I didn't know that. See, this is why we should build a wall. Fuck those guys.
Build all the walls.
Yeah, man, that's not right.
Make sure it's 3 more fencing.
I mean, if there's a recession and people, if there's not enough food, that's when you start eating your pets, and then that's okay. That's just survival. But if you're in the lap of luxury and you're like, hey, let's just eat weird shit, I don't know, man. And that's just kind of fucked up. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's okay.
No, I agree. It
What
is
do I
fucked
know?
up. Especially because, unlike cattle, you only eat one muscle in the whole horse.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Are you fucking kidding? What do they do with the rest of the horse?
They put it in a big old grinder and they make it dog food.
I was about to ask if it was dog food. Yeah.
Oh wow, okay. Well, you know what?
only
I mean,
eat-
on the plus side of that, that's a hell of a lot better than just throwing it away.
Yeah.
True.
The what would be technical would be the like the backstrap.
Yeah.
That's all you eat on a horse.
Wow. That's
the rest of the meat
not
is
much.
No, it's not. And it's
like,
shorter than a cow.
It's like the crawfish of animals. There's only a tiny bit for all that effort.
You get to eat a morsel. Hope you enjoyed your.
Hey, what? You know what? Do you guys remember Faces of Death? And there was that scene where a bunch of people at a table, and I guess they it had a hole in the center.
And they were hitting the
monkey. Yeah.
You know, I saw it. I was probably 9 years old, and it has fucked me up for my whole life.
Well, guess what? Guess what I found out? That scene is fake.
Oh.
Really?
I'm not. That's what I learned, or that's what I read about. But hey, what's up, TC Box? Hey, Saint Face, you should be able to unmute yourself if you want to join in. Oh, but you're usually like doing stuff with food or noise or something. I don't know.
No, as luck would have it, today was supposed to be my apprentice's first day, so I spent the last couple days letting shit pile up so that she could learn the ropes. Guess who didn't show up today?
Fuck you, Dagger fella. You know why did you just change it from the full word to FGT? This isn't Facebook. Nobody's gonna zuck you. You fucking dumb, you dipshit faggot fuck. I hate you. No, I don't. But it's fun. Anyway, so Robin, by the way, I let everybody know that you have a presentation that you're preparing that'll probably be ready for next week. Or whenever you're ready. If it's ready next week, awesome. But I told everybody about it. Yup. Nice. So Highway, I don't know who you are, but I see
that's
that you're
one of
here.
mine.
Awesome. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. So now I want to talk about California and some of the crazy ass fucking shit that's going on here. So there's a few little news tidbits that I'm going to go through. So let's see. I'm going to shut some things down here. Let's get rid of that. We just talked about that. So I didn't know about this when it happened. I'm surprised I didn't get to. I don't have any recollection of this at all. I don't know how it got past me. But anyway, LA is paying out. It just recently hit the news that LA is paying out $2 million to a rape victim who was raped by 2 Los Angeles police officers. Luis Valenzuela and James C. Nichols. This is the first of several payouts that are going to be happening, apparently. I guess these 2 guys, Nichols and Valenzuela, here, you know what? Let me grab the link for everybody.
My reckless driving ticket, if the cop was like, bend over and I won't give you this, I would have done. All right, straight up, like $1,200 to $1,800 pay this. I would have taken it for that.
Fine.
Oh, that is a high fine.
91.
So these guys from 2008 to 2011 were just raping women, and I guess they were mostly like informants. female informants for drug investigators and stuff like that, drug-related crimes. So it was an abuse of power. Well, not kind of. Just a little bit. I mean, not that big of a deal. But both men have been sentenced to 25 years in state prison. Obviously, they'll have to register as sex offenders. But you know, in all of this, I feel like the story isn't here, and the real story is a Hispanic male and a white male worked together in, you know, to diversity, and I think that that's important to remember. Let's not lose sight of the fact that diversity in this case works. This is proof that when we can make things happen. It doesn't have. We don't have to fight.
Racial harmony.
This is diversity working, folks. I don't. You know. I think the lesson.
If only it was a Jew and a Christian and a Muslim doing it, then
one of them was transgender.
Still out coexist across her back.
Oh my god! So that was fucked up. I don't know how I missed this when it was happening. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I was probably high. So that was going on. And then here's some more good police work going on. 3 more have been arrested. In a case involving an LA sheriff deputy stealing $604,000 and 12 pounds of weed in a fake bust. Yeah, man, like, dude, our cops are the best. 3 men accused of conspiring with an LA. I'm gonna read a little bit. I'll try not to make it a lecture. I just want to get some of this out. Conspiring with a LA County Sheriff's deputy, perform a fake raid on a marijuana warehouse. Like I said, they stole 1,200 pounds, $605K in cash. They were arrested Thursday. These most recent arrests come just weeks after LA Sheriff's deputy Mark Antrim agreed to plead guilty to federal charges in connection with the armed robbery last October. This is our police force out here. Like, it's really, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's not representative or indicative of all of our police, but it's certainly. I mean, at least they're not shooting. I should say this is a bonus. Like, we've stopped just killing people. Oh, that is a thing that happened though. I almost forgot about that. There's another thing. God damn it! I didn't pull up a link for that. Here, I'll give you the link for this. I guess there was 2 cops went looking for a suspect in Sacramento, I think it was, who was, here's the link. He was breaking into cars, I think it was, and they had tracked somebody.
Guy.
Yeah, it was a black male. They traced him, or they followed him to his grandmother's backyard, and approached him. And I guess, I think they chased him there. And I guess he turned around, had a metal object. I think last year when this shooting happened, he had a metal object and he came forward at the officers. Apparently, in a sort of a, from everything I've heard,
I know what
sort
you're
of an
talking
assaulting.
about. Yeah.
It's sort of an assaulting or a
Like
hostile
a menacing
manner.
gesture. Yeah.
Yeah. So he turned around, came at them, had a metal object, and they fucking shot him down. Turned out he had a phone in his hand. The autopsy later shows that he was chock full of fucking drugs. They had their man. It's not like he was some innocent dude that they fucking mistook for the actual perp. This is the guy. This is totally the guy who was fucking breaking in or stealing cars or robbing cars or something. And they did an investigation because he was unarmed. So everybody, of course, that's what they focused on. He's black. He's unarmed. This is racism, and that was as far as it went. Like the community and Sacramento City immediately went up in arms. California is known for their anti-cop sentiment. So the investigation was done, and the judge just came out. I don't remember what circuit, like circuit court judge or something like that, came out and said there will be no charges filed. These nothing wrong. And now of course, the community is pissed.
Well, because they did kill an unarmed man.
Yeah, but they legitimately thought he had a gun, I think.
Yeah, but they killed an unarmed man.
Okay, but here's the thing. Hold on now.
Tells you to do, you deserve to get your shit shot.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't. The government shouldn't get to just kill you because you do something or what they consider stupid. Remember, cops can do whatever they want and get away with it, and it's just horseshit.
If you are told to lay down with an authoritative command, and you don't lay down, and you keep your hands up, and you swing your iPhone at them, fucking shoot them, because you don't know what the phone is.
Oh yeah, that iPhone's real fucking dangerous. You deserve to die for that.
I've got one.
But you're a fucking bootlicker, Nicole.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
Whoa!
damn, Joel.
God damn, it's getting heavy in here. Okay, right. So here's the deal.
Love you, Nicole.
Joel, I love you too, but
Antifa. See, I err on the side. I'm with Pony Girl on this. Here's my reasoning, and this is the best. I'm about to repeat something that I heard, but it's a valid argument, and it's the best I've heard yet as to why this is not something that the police did wrong. And here's the thing: these guys are out there in the one job where their life is at risk on a daily basis. They're dealing with people breaking the law. That's their job. And those people tend to run, fight, and if they can't, you corner them and they'll try and kill you. Not all of them, not everyone, but that happens. And that's your job. And in those situations, you can't really take risks. If you take a risk, if you guess wrong, you know what? I can't tell if the guy's got a weapon or not. I'm going to assume he doesn't, and then you're wrong. That's your ass. You're dead. So I don't really see how it makes sense that you have
exactly. The cost of being, because it's it's not like the police are like, oh, he's got an iPhone, let's shoot him. It looks like he has something that could very well be a weapon.
But it wasn't. So why aren't they held responsible? No, hold on, stop. If you're an individual who thinks that you're in danger from somebody, so you get into a fight or whatever, and you shoot somebody because you think they have a gun, in reality they only have an iPhone, guess what? You're going to prison. Yes, you are.
Not necessarily, no.
Most like you will. You will at least go to trial, almost certainly. And the fact
you'll go to trial, but
it's a huge standard where they get away with it, and because of qualified immunity, a horrible fucking thing, they can't be held responsible. And if they can't be held criminally liable, they can't be held civilly liable. And this is what they make to choose this job. So they don't actually have sympathy for them because they kill too many fucking people.
Hold on. Now, see, this is so funny because I be just like you. Like I was totally 6 years ago. I was hashtag kill cops, man.
I'm not kill cops. I'm just get away. Killing too easily.
Held responsible, just like a citizen should.
Yes.
here's my issue with that. You have to take into account that the average citizen's action in a scenario that is life or death, it is on average it's rare. Most of us don't deal with that. Cops deal that's part of the job. So the idea that you can compare to that you can't. It's not the same. Because it's disparity. You're dealing with life and death situations on a regular basis because it's part of your job. So the idea that and don't we all know the game now? How many people have been shot because they've been mistaken because they came at the cop and they're like, oh, I didn't mean anything by it. I was gonna come and give you a hug. Or they pulled something out of their pocket really fast. Hey man, I was just gonna call my mom and tell her I was getting arrested, and the cops shot him because how many times does that have to happen before we all figure out what the fuck the rules are, before we know what the game is? Like you're gonna tell me now today that I didn't know. I thought I could pull my phone out real fast while running at the cops and it was acceptable. I didn't know that was going to get me shot. Get the fuck out of here. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. That's stupid.
There have been several cases where I actually agree that the cops should have been held accountable like a normal citizen because the choices made were wrong and ridiculous. This one,
I'm not going to say this
one I don't feel. From what I've heard and what I've read, I truly believe that they thought they saw a gun. They thought their lives were in danger. They made the decision to shoot. But there are other cases where I don't feel that way. So,
and you know what?
There are plenty of cases like that. Plenty of cases that go either way.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say cops never, like that. That's never happens. Over the years, I've changed my tune. I used to think the norm where 99% of the cases where violence was met or somebody's life lost in an altercation with the cops, I thought automatically that meant you had corrupt cops, when in fact over the years I've seen endless accounts of people not following directions, being non-compliant, and thinking that they can act out in hostile or aggressive ways, and the cops is going to assume that they're, this is somebody who doesn't mean harm. He's just got an attitude. That's all it is. Like, no, they can't take that risk. The guy with the attitude could be the guy who. Oh, go ahead.
One of the cases I was referring to that was fucked up is the one that John McIntyre just shared. It's in the hotel hall.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that one. There's plenty of examples like that where the police are in the wrong, and they should be prosecuted.
Yeah,
and
I'm not.
Nobody's like contradicting that.
No, not at.
That video. That's one of the ones that I've never been able to get out of my head. That video is fine.
That's I mean, the guy's clearly unarmed. He's slow. He's obviously intoxicated or
he's doing the best he can to follow the directions.
Right. He's trying to comply while he's clearly under the influence, and the cop just was on a power trip, on a power high. Obviously that happens, and yes, is wrong, and in those kinds of scenarios, absolutely, I'm against that, and that should never happen. But to completely negate that cops deal with people who push the boundaries and legitimately make these cops feel like their lives are at risk is impossible. There was an article, I should have looked that up. There was an article by a guy who was completely biased against cops, saying that he believed that, most of this was police corruption, cops are on power trips, and that, the total leftist perspective on police and law enforcement. And he went through I think a 2-week LEO VR training thing, not virtual reality, but like I think it was like a camp kind of training thing where they put you through scenarios, and with all his bias, his article that he wrote was like, I had no idea. I've been completely turned around. You don't know in the heat of battle when things are turning. I pulled my weapon at the wrong times. I didn't pull my weapon when it was the right time. Like, it's really difficult to know what you're supposed to do, and it's really hard to hold them. It's just.
Let me interject. Cops are trained to use one level of force higher than what they're presented. So when you only had a knife, why'd you pull a gun on him? Is because the knife is like a lethal weapon at one tier, and a gun is a lethal weapon at a tier above. So if the guy was barehanded, the cop can pull out a baton and be justified, but he can't pull out a gun unless the guy has his hands on him. And that's where a lot of this comes from. It's like, why the fuck did you shoot him? He had a knife. He was 10 feet away from you. Well, if he starts running at you with that knife, suddenly you have a very lethal weapon, and there's no stopping somebody with a knife.
Right.
Cops are trained to protect themselves above protecting the idiot at the other end.
And why shouldn't they be?
And why shouldn't they be? And why shouldn't they be justified protecting
because
themselves?
they don't know if that person is actually guilty or not, and that's a citizen that
hold on. I'm not arguing that point.
Because they totally have time to be like, let's really think about this rationally as somebody's charging at them with what could be a lethal weapon.
Fuck up. Jesus.
I agree that if they fuck up and they're legitimately in the wrong, that they should be held accountable. I'm not arguing that point at all. I just think that there are times where citizens push the boundaries and think, and then they get fucking shot and killed because they fucked around, because cops don't know any better. If I got some guy, dude, I'm not even a cop. If you come at me and you got something in your hand, I'm gonna just assume that that's something to hurt me with, a weapon of some sort, and I'm not gonna wait to see. Fuck you and your phone. You shouldn't fucking come at me. Like, don't do that. So to think that a cop would think any differently, these are human beings just the same as us. Why would they? I'm not saying they shouldn't be held to a standard. Of course they should.
I want to know why
there has to be some metal.
Like, do you believe that they really didn't think it was a gun?
I don't care. They're wrong, therefore they have to be prosecuted. If you're wrong in what you do, you face some sort of, if it's just manslaughter, fine. But yeah, if you're wrong, if you killed somebody who who was actually no threat, then you're fucked up.
But I think that could lead.
How do you know that he wasn't a threat? Why was he coming at them?
Yeah, because we're talking about a matter of randomness.
Let me put it this way: I would prefer that innocent citizens stay alive and at the loss of a few more cops, in my view.
Oh,
this isn't the 50s anymore, though. This isn't where you've got kids going to the hop and fucking ice cream socials.
So, what's that got to do with anything?
That's not nothing. Citizen. They didn't just shoot some random guy in his grandmother's backyard because they felt like it.
An armed man, so they were wrong.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, what we're talking about is why are we
negating that?
Shoot him!
What we're talking about is like a random event, and as in probabilistically random, and for you to say okay, if they're wrong, they need to be punished. That's basically saying even though what you're doing is statistically correct, you should still be penalized. I don't agree with that. You should always take the statistically safe route. And if somebody's charging at you and you don't know if they're armed or not, but you think that they might be, the statistically correct thing to do is to stop them.
Assume the worst.
Joel, baby.
Even if you're wrong sometimes, that's still the better thing overall.
If you jump in a pen with one of your bulls and he charges at you, are you going to sit there and be like, maybe he'll stop?
That's not at all the same thing. So
only if he waves his cell phone around.
Ultimately, look, what we're trying to say is that Black people in ghetto communities are the same as charging bulls. All right, that's ultimately what. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I know that's not what you're trying to say. I'm not saying that. It's all drug stuff.
Oh, you're saying that a human life is worth no more than a bull. That's good.
Still depends on the bull. I mean,
no, I don't think that's what she's saying.
Yeah, there are $100,000 bulls. So.
Yeah, but not $100,000 people.
Well, I heard that what's her name, Jennifer Lopez, like her butt cheeks are insured for like $1 million or something like that.
I'm sure it is.
What'd you say?
And Beyonce's legs.
Oh, Beyonce's legs. You know what? I mean, don't get me wrong, Beyonce's all right, but if anybody's legs need to be insured, it's Tina Turner's. Like, that woman's fucking 80 and she's still got the hottest legs in town.
Yep.
Joel, I want to offer an olive branch. I will agree with you.
Joel, I'm gonna shut you down and dress up like a cop, and I'm gonna fuck you.
No, I agree with you that cops should be held to a standard, that life is important, and that they can't just shoot first and ask questions second all the time. Like, there are legitimate instances where cops go above or beyond their their justified level of violence or what have you, their justified response, and they abuse their power, and that definitely has to be accounted for. That has to be addressed when it happens.
Yeah.
But so often
not. What'd you say?
I said it's so often not, unfortunately. But now, and
right,
don't get me wrong, most police shootings are completely justified statistically. I don't remember what the number is, but the vast majority are justified in what they're doing. But the small number that aren't, one, get more headlines, of course, and two, should be held to a high standard, to me. And to me, they're not held to a high enough standard, I don't think.
I agree that there's still a sort of a community of protection that exists among the LEOs and the DOJ, where there's sort of a friendly camaraderie that going on, where those who do cross the line often tend to go unpunished. And that I'll agree. While I agree that most cops, like you said, are justified in what they do, those who do cross the line very, very rarely seem to get held.
It is rare. Yeah.
So I agree with you, brother. That needs to be fixed. So just real quick off topic of California, I want to talk about sports just real quick. For those of you who are basketball.
I love
not
sports
football,
ball.
Not football. Basketball.
I love all sports. I love all sports ball.
Okay, good. So you're if you're a fan of basketball and you're a fan of LeBron James, I just want to say, haha, fuck you guys.
Right? Right?
That motherfucker went into what do they call that? The Western Conference?
Yeah.
Which, from what little I did, what little I learned,
by far the better conference. Yes.
It's well, not just by better, not just the better conference, but the far more difficult.
Right. That's what
conference.
I mean. Yeah.
Like, that's a rough conference to play in.
Top to bottom.
You've got to really be talented.
Right.
And I think it's funny to me that LeBron went from Eastern to Western, and in Eastern he was the golden child. Mm-hmm. And everybody, including him, thought, well, that's just gonna, of course, be the case still here in the West. And since he's joined the Lakers, that shit has not been the case. They just lost to the Clippers. If I understand it correctly, that's their 15th loss in a row or something like that.
I don't know if it's in a row. It's a shit ton. Yeah, they only have a 1% chance of making the playoffs now. And
this, from what I understand, they're prior to them playing the Clippers, it was being stated that if they lose to the Clippers, it essentially means their season is shit. It's done. It's over. They're done. And lo and behold, they fucking lost. And LeBron, oh my God, I get glee because he kind of comes across as sort of a
cocky
smug. Yeah, he's kind of smug and cocky. And he came here. We have a local news journalist, and this just goes to show you how much I know, because I can't fucking remember the guy's name, but he's a regular on KFI, but he's been a huge fan of the Lakers. The Lakers always have known him. He's been reporting on the Lakers for 15 years. And I guess when LeBron first came over, and he did like a press briefing where he sat down and all the local press were there to ask him questions. This guy stood up and said, asked him, hey, so I understand you've got like this business going on and this other, you got your hands in a couple of pies. How difficult is that for you to maintain, your level of professional basketballmanship, whatever, and keep those businesses going? And LeBron was rude to him. He was like, if you know me, you already know. If you've been following my career, then you already know the answer to that. So obviously, do you know? And it's like, whoa there, boy! Why don't you quit swinging your dick around, dude? Fucking put that shit away. You don't need to be like that. That was fucking rude. And so it just does my heart good to see him kind of get knocked down a peg or two. Yeah. And I'm laughing at everybody who fucking is a fan of his. So if you're a fan of his, ha.
It was funny. I was listening to Houston Sports Talk this afternoon, and one of the two guys is a huge LeBron fan. And there's the big debate on, who's the best ever. Is it LeBron or is it Michael Jordan? And this guy's like, he goes, until the last couple months, I still would have said LeBron, just slightly over Jordan. But after seeing how he's been playing recently and just checking out of games, he's like, yeah, no, you'd never see Michael do that.
No. Nope. Yeah, I'm sorry, LeBron. He's no Michael, and he's no Kareem. He's no, you know what I mean? Like, he's just.
But he's supremely gifted at what he does. But yeah, now he's
he doesn't measure up, in my opinion. Like, I grew up when I was a kid, the Lakers were the shit, man.
Oh well, yeah,
like the 1980s Lakers.
Yeah, the Showtime Lakers. Yeah, but
yeah, man, like that was. It's never been that. Those guys were amazing.
Yeah,
and I think everybody had hoped that LeBron, given his skill, would come up. Pistons were better. All right, I guess. I'm not married to the game. I'm not. It's like, you're not gonna upset me with any kind of like, well, fuck you. This team was better. Like, all right, if you say so, I don't give a shit. Like, sports ball isn't my thing, buddy. My
whole understanding of basketball comes from Magic Mike and Space Jam. So, like, is that relevant?
By the way,
Magic Mike has basketball in it. Isn't that stripper movie?
Yeah, I think they play basketball in one of them.
That was the kid with
Are you talking
sneakers.
like Mike?
Like Mike.
Oh,
yeah.
like Mike.
Where they like find the shoes that belong to Michael Jordan.
Mike with the shoes. He gets Michael Jordan's shoes. He's all of a sudden a all-star.
That's not Magic Mike. There was some sort of basketball stripper going on. I was like, what? What's going on?
I would that.
So one of the things that LeBron's working on now is his production company is producing a new Space Jam movie.
Fuck yeah.
With who LeBron is?
That he's got a movie production company. That's why he moved to LA. That's why he chose the Lakers, is so he could do and all the other entertainment stuff, because Cleveland's just not happening. And
right.
he spends most of his life either in Cleveland or traveling, and he needed a home base somewhere where he could really get into these ventures and start making even more money. And so, yeah, that's why he moved.
From what I understand, he wants to follow in the footsteps of Magic Johnson, in the sense that Magic went on from his basketball stardom to really develop himself financially in a business sense. Like he's well to do now because of business, not because of his football. Like sports celebrities tend to like either go the route of commentators or they buy a fucking used car sales used car lot, or and they sell used cars. Magic is one of the few that put his money away, invested, started businesses, learned how to be successful in that arena. And from what I've heard, LeBron kind of wants to. Magic's here, and he's involved with the Lakers in the back end from the management side, from what I understand. And LeBron wants access to him as a mentor.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, probably. But all right, enough sports ball.
How the fuck is Magic not dead yet? Because
he bathes in money. Remember, it's like the South Park episode.
Well, not only because of money, but because he caught it when it was just HIV.
HIV, not full blown AIDS.
Yeah, it makes a fucking, and I guess that makes a huge damn difference. So,
well, it always starts as HIV. But you don't.
Right, but if you catch it when it's HIV,
they caught it early enough.
Real quick, segue. They cured the second person ever of AIDS.
I saw that.
Yeah, I hear that they're making headway in that regard.
Auger, there is hope for you. Yeah.
Dude, I'm too chubby to have AIDS. If I had AIDS, I'd be so much prettier. Oh my god.
Yeah,
that'd be way prettier. I mean, my lifespan would be a lot shorter, but hey, you gotta. Beauty is pain. Beauty is pain. That's right. So yeah, enough with that. We've done that now. Hang on, I'm going through my list. Other LA news. Check this out. This Canoga Park, dude. Our fucking politicians, as all of you already know, and some of you are here with me in this hellhole. Robin, California's crazy. Its politicians are crazy. This Democrat representative out of Canoga Park wants California, the state, to have its own Green New Deal. And he wants to establish that. Right. Yeah. I'm so, AOC was funny for a while, but the joke's over. Now I'm like, somebody, right. This needs to stop. Like, she needs to be stopped. Enough. And her whole, like, it's so funny. The people in her generation are I just don't feel like they're meant for or are ready for politics. No. I mean, here's the thing. She's got no respect for those who paved the way. She has no respect for her own office, let alone the office of those who she works with. It's just and this craziness that's spreading from her ideas, her fucking stupid ideas. I don't know. I have a problem with it. So this guy wants to shut down a bunch of fucking fast food restaurants. he wants to shut down In-N-Out and McDonald's. He's blaming I guess greenhouse gases and global warming on these fires. He's saying that our towns are burning down because we're not doing anything. So he wants to declare a state national emergency based on global warming. When in fact, it just came out recently that the LA Department of Water and Power and I think it was Edison or the other electric, whatever the other one is, came out and took ownership of the Malibu fire that happened not too long ago. Apparently another one too like we've been having a lot of fires, and apparently they're responsible. So it's just so funny to me, like there. It seems like our state politicians refuse to face up to the reality of things and instead focus on really stupid, inane shit, or just come up with completely, BS, reasons for whatever's going on. Like, instead of actually focusing on why the fires are happening, instead we blame global warming, and then we say let's ban plastic straws. Like, that's gonna fucking do anything. We've got, dude. I think I read down in San Diego, they're finding needles everywhere because of that free needle fucking program that we got going out. That wonderful needle program that they had in several cities here, where they're handing out free needles in order to prevent the spread of diseases among the degenerates and the fucking crack addicted and homeless. And what's happening is these people are fucking just leaving them on the streets. They're finding needles inside books in libraries. Are you fucking kidding me? And this is just this state. I hate this state. I hate people.
The wall includes California.
What's that?
I propose that the wall includes California.
I agree.
Yeah, I support this idea.
I agree.
Do you know why your forest fires are so fucking bad besides the drought?
Oh, yeah, about that too, but go ahead.
Your forest fires are really fucking bad because your state and the United States does not properly prune its national forests.
Oh.
And you have that issue because the trees are dying in a way that is insane. And they're dead trees that are still standing, and it's standing kindling.
You're talking about how we don't apply controlled fires.
No, you don't apply controlled fires. It's not that. It's that your forests are standing kindling even without a controlled burn. Your controlled burns would get control because they haven't taken care of the woodland.
Correct.
Yeah.
The fuel load, basically, when you don't have cleared out forests like that, when you have dead trees that fall and everything like that, the fuel load becomes so high on the floor of the forest that any fire will then reach the canopy. In a healthy forest, you don't have as much, and so when you get the fires that are natural and are going to come through, they burn off the ground layer, but they do not get high enough to set the entire thing on fire. And that has been more because of environmental restrictions, also because of putting out, as you did mention, Josh, not allowing controlled burns or allowing some fires to go. But now, of course, it's at a point where it's pretty much impossible to allow any fire to go because there's so much of a fuel load there that they will always get out of.
Yeah. Deforestation. You're killing our forest. No, you're taking out the shit that shouldn't be there.
Yeah. No. Well, let's also not forget that our politicians out here are fucking stupid. So Jerry Brown, while he was still governor here, decided that after 5 years of drought, that this was the new normal. And there was a ton of money earmarked to build reservoirs to catch rainwater. And he just took that money and invested it elsewhere. I believe in the now defunct high-speed rail project that they had, that they were which was a fucking money sink. So they never built any of these reservoirs because they were saying this is a new normal, right? We're never going to get rain, which is fucking retarded. We're getting record amounts of rain,
and all the horses are dying.
Tons of water just washed away. Like we didn't catch any of it. Because we don't have the fucking the fucking reservoirs. I hate these people. I hate their stupid policies. I hate their stupid faces. I want to punch them, and I want to force them to build reservoirs and like the tyrants of old, kill them and bury them underneath the foundation of the reservoirs. Like, I want that. That's what I want. I want to be able to look. I want to take my children or grandchildren to a reservoir and point down to it and go, "You see that, Jimmy? That's the Jerry Brown Reservoir right there. he's right down there somewhere. Yep, right around there."
I love that.
I watched him put him there. Like, I want that so badly, but we're not gonna have that. So,
my favorite thing that has come out of the California drought was the ABC6 News like nightly thing that I watched on a company that's painting lawns green.
Oh my God.
Oh, I had a girlfriend whose mother would do that instead of they were recommending.
You were allowed to use environmentally friendly paint and paint your lawn green because you weren't water the grass.
Correct.
Just
I watched her spray paint her front lawn. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me right now. This is a thing. It's real. I don't believe this, but it was fucking real, man. I don't get it."
Your story will stick forever, like California.
Yeah, it's not that way at all. So, our right now, Gavin Newsom, during the midterm elections here in California the last midterms, we voted on a gas tax. There was a lot of hullabaloo about this. Essentially, California has been dealing with an influx, a surplus in the state budget annually. Like, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Jerry Brown came out and said, "We don't have enough money to fix all the roads," because the roads here are atrocious. Like, our infrastructure is atrocious. Our fucking dams are falling apart when it fucking rains. We don't have reservoirs. There's potholes the size of fucking Subarus. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ludicrous how such a, they tout how we're the 5th largest GDP in the fucking world. Well, you wouldn't know it driving up and down this goddamn state. And they're with this annual surplus, and I'm talking 15 years where it just keeps increasing. They get more and more money. And Jerry Brown comes and says, "Oh, we don't have enough money to fix the roads, so we're going to need to tax you some more. We're going to gas tax by 11%, and we're going to basically double your registration fees, and back on a couple other kinds of, but it's all for you, and it's roads, and we need to build the roads, enough money." And people went, "That's bullshit. You do have money, and you're using it for stupid shit like speed rail. So go fuck yourself. Use the money the way they have, the way it's supposed to be. This is my money. Keep your hands out pockets." And how we didn't vote against it successfully is why I think there's got to be a way that this aren't fucking rigged. Nobody. If you told somebody, "Hey, would you like the government to take more of your money than it already does?" Who fucking says, yeah, that sounds good. I'd like that. I would like them to take more of my money. Yes, please. And yet, the majority of the fucking state voted exactly that way.
Yeah.
And
because
I don't fucking buy it. I don't fucking buy it. Not for a second. Not only that, but the few Republicans we did have, they fucking ousted. We got like one Republican in California representatives. The rest, the whole state is fucking Democrat. And yet people are leaving in droves and the people who are left here are complaining. So who the fuck is voting that way? There's just a lot to that. That's a whole nother story.
I don't know if this explains that phenomenon, but there is a large amount of people that when you ask, would you be willing to pay more in taxes? They say no. But then it's like, okay, should we raise taxes on the ultra wealthy? Then they'll say yes.
Yes.
So
exactly.
People are very generous with not their own money, which is why I propose a tax that is like 90% tax rate on the ultra wealthy, who specifically the ones who call for higher taxes on the rich.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Tax them,
what the fuck is keeping
not the
them
other
from
rich people
getting
that
it?
Have any kind of common sense. But it's like, okay, if you're calling for higher taxes, you lead the way. All right, let's make this happen.
We had something here. I guess it was 2 years ago in our little town. They voted on a bond issue to spend like $38 million on a big athletic complex, new football field, practice fields, tennis courts and stuff for the high school and everything like that. Now, keep in mind, the population of our town is 4,200. The number of children going to school is going down. And they passed a $38 million bond for this bullshit because people most people, they couch it in terms of property taxes will only go up this much more than they already were going to go up anyway. Like, oh, that's fine. And people they actually pay property taxes and that their rent will go up. So I've always thought that if you vote on a bond, people who vote yes should pay for it.
Yeah, Eddie, you said that California was number 5, President 7 went back up to number 5. I read that last year, about like around October or November is that. So I'm wrong again. I understand it did go up to number 7, but that was like early 2000s. It went back up to number 5. I think it was because of the increase in money from Hollywood and Silicon Valley. And as far as I know, like, that's another thing. Over 80% of the state taxes is paid, or no, I think it's even higher than that. I think it's like 90% or more of the state taxes are paid by less than 1% of its population. So, I mean, that's crazy. Like,
yep.
and we, we want to be a sanctuary state, and like, who are these people? I swear to God, and they want to increase the taxes on the wealthy here, and I don't know how we're going to manage to keep those people here. If the richest 1% leave California, this state will fucking fall apart.
I mean, that's what happened in Detroit. Like, I mean, Detroit used to have all of the major auto manufacturers, and then they started taxing the crap out of them, and they left. And now it's just nothing but poor people there who are stuck under these absurdly high tax rates. And
I mean,
it sucks.
One positive thing is that California's beautiful. We're a coastal, so even if they leave, like, there will still be people who want to be here or who will end up coming here. Like, it's just pretty. Detroit's
right.
like it's just, Michigan's all right, I guess, but it's California's fucking gorgeous. So
only as long as you're there, baby.
Oh, good God, I love that cheese. I fucking love that cheese. I love it when you lie. So, but yeah, so where was I with this whole thing? The reason I brought up the taxes is because they did increase our gas tax, and now that we're being taxed for that, our new governor, Gavin Newsom, is threatening cities by saying he will take away, like, he will not share the revenue from those gas tax from that gas tax with those cities if they do not increase the amount of affordable housing being built in their city. As if they're right, as if the city somehow controls that. Like that's a private sector issue. They can certainly approve
No,
it.
it's never. Hold on. Now they never consider it a private sector issue. They don't consider the fact that one of the main drivers of unaffordable housing is very simply a lack of supply, and the lack of supply comes around because of zoning and other things. Like in San Francisco, of course, is the biggest example of all. I mean, your neighbors can veto what you build in San Francisco. Your neighbors can put a halt to you building a home of some sort. It's just insane. And so instead, they want to force municipalities to spend tax dollars to build affordable housing. And Austin is becoming that way.
Like these cities don't have the money for. See, you want them to spend money they don't have, and you're threatening to keep money that could help them if they don't, meet these regional housing targets set by the state. But they can't be enforced. How do you enforce them? You can't force somebody to build. Like cities can't go around saying you have to build this.
They can actually. They can force you to do it by.
I mean, how can a city come to a private sector person, because that's who's building housing and all of that, right? Like there's no, unless you're HUD, right? Like government housing. But the cities don't have money for that. Like isn't that federal?
Yeah, HUD is federal.
Right.
But they work with local people too. They give the money to the states and everything else like that. So it's a state federal partnership, like pretty much everything that the feds do.
But if you've got some guy build housing, I guess the city can say, well, you will approve that if you build affordable housing too. But you can't.
Exactly.
He can simply say, well, then I'll build somewhere else, which is what I imagine would happen. Like you can't. I'm talking about under threat of gun, which is some fucking mafia racketeering shit. You're going to build this fucking housing. Like, what power do the cities have
That's what's
to
going
do
on
this?
in some places in New Jersey right now. Is that
really?
The state, because New Jersey is really, really segregated as a state, because we're segregated by town based on income, at its like purest level. Like I told you on the phone the other night, like we paid $15,000 in property taxes for like a meager square of property because our town was like super white and super high income. And so the state of New Jersey, it's true. New Jersey is actually taking kids from lower income areas and busing them 3-4 counties over to balance out the segregation issue in public schools.
Jeez.
TC Boggs says California does have a housing crisis. Even people making a decent living are becoming homeless. That's not because it's not because there aren't any houses. It's because it's too expensive to fucking live here.
Which they create.
It's not a housing crisis. It's a financial crisis. It's an income crisis.
It's a supply crisis that leads to the existing supply being absurdly expensive.
Yeah,
you can't say it's because there aren't any houses there. You can't say it's because of a lack of. It's not because of a lack of supply, because it is. Like that's the root cause. Is these burdensome regulations and price controls just either outright prevent or at the very least disincentivize people from building new either apartment buildings or houses?
Not disincentivizes people from building houses or new ones or new apartment buildings, condos, what have you. Right. TC Boggs says, dude, I worked with a guy that had to commute from Victorville to Fontana and he makes $80K a year. And he's, yes, that's what I'm saying. It's not that there's not houses here. The cost of living, the cost of a house and the cost of living here in the state is absolutely ludicrous. You have to make, I remember this was like a year or two ago. They were talking about in Orange County, which is an conservative county comparatively. I mean, as conservative as it gets here in California, I guess. If you make under, what was it, like $175K a year, then you're considered below. You fall under the poverty category. Like you could apply for states if you make less than that. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God.
I believe it.
It's just.
What'd you say the cutoff for that was?
What's that?
What'd you say like the income threshold for that was?
I want to say it was like 170, but I could be wrong.
So you can make six figures and still qualify for like financial aid.
Yeah.
Or like you're considered poor by California standards. That's wild.
Was it 170 or was it 70? 120K is the poverty line in San Francisco. Maybe it was 170 then. Jesus, that's insane, dude. It's just insane. I gotta get the fuck out of here. So Gavin's an asshole. He's trying to withhold money from cities, and that's a fucking dick move. And he's at least admitted that the high-speed rail project is a failure. Like it just doesn't make. It's not going to work. They can't build it. But they came to the gut and got federal funds to start that project to the tune of like several million. And it hinges on the project being finished. Well, Newsom came out and said, we're just going to build from Shitsville to who gives a fuckville. Like I forget what the cities are, but it's two cities that nobody fucking goes to. And those two cities aren't bustling metropolises. They're like out in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't it's absolutely ludicrous to have a high-speed rail where nobody is and nobody cares and nobody's using it and it doesn't make any sense. But he's like, we're gonna build a little stretch instead of this whole stretch that money that they got from requires them to finish the project as they stated it. So if he doesn't do that, that money is required to be paid back to the government. Like, give us our money back. We gave that to you for this. If you're not going to do that, you have to give it back. And now Newsom is trying to, make himself look good by saying, I'm not giving it back to Trump. So this is, I fucking hate this state. I think Newsom is stupid. I really, Governor Nuisance. Governor Useless, call him what you want. I fuck. California is crazy. What's going on in my state? So I just wanted to go through some of that.
All right, real quick. Now that you're done on that rant, I gotta go inside. So good night, friends.
Good night.
Night, Nicole.
Miss you guys.
You too. Night, girl.
Always miss you, pony girl. Love that girl. Infatuated. So I recently learned that February had the highest total of undocumented immigrants crossing the U.S. border in 12 years. It was also the highest single month total since Trump was elected in 2016. So, I mean, for all these Democrats like Pelosi who are saying, this is not a good month for them. The numbers was I don't understand, and this brings us to the point of the national emergency, and the what is it, the Congress is trying to pass that motion to, I guess, deny the state of emergency declaration that Trump has placed or declared, which I guess some this is what I don't understand. Some conservatives or Republicans are coming out and are going to vote to have that motion pass, so it'll then be taken to the House where it'll die. But it's just curious to me, like, why would you vote against it? I guess I don't understand that part. Like, Rand Paul is supposed to vote to pass this motion, and I don't understand where he's coming from with that. Like, does any...
You don't?
You tend to be on the opposite end of things with me, so maybe you can understand.
Yeah, no, he's doesn't want the... He's a very libertarian Republican, so he believes in smaller government and strict separation of powers.
So this,
in his mind, hold on, let me finish. In his mind, because I follow him on Facebook.
Okay.
In his mind, Congress has not allocated the funds. He thinks that National Emergency Act, of course, or whatever it was called, is a horrible, horrible thing that should be repealed. And so he can't, in good conscience, vote for it. And I completely agree with him. I would not support it either.
So it's not because he doesn't believe that we need a wall or that we need border enforcement.
Correct.
It's simply a matter of principle that this isn't the way to do this.
Yes. I think Justin Amash is, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I think he may be on that same side as well. I'm not sure. Haven't seen, but he's... Thomas Massey, I think there's several guys who are very similar, very libertarian in their thinking, and really believe in separation of powers and not giving presidents, undue authority and giving up congressional authority by giving it to them. They think it's a terrible idea. And so they're going to oppose it regardless of whether they agree with what needs to be done. They think it should be done in the proper manner, going through Congress and, doing that.
Oh, Rick, we will talk about that in a minute. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Joel. I'm catching up on the show chat. So I guess I kind of understand that. I mean, I do understand that. But I feel like we're at a point where that ability exists, and fuck it, might as well use it while we have somebody in office who will, and will get the job done, because they're irrational. They're fighting this instead of compromising to get some to find a middle ground. Instead, they're completely, whatever you want, we're against it. We're going to vote against whatever. If it's the right thing, it doesn't matter. If it makes sense, it doesn't matter. It's a partisan issue that we can agree on. If you say we're going to say no, if you say black, we're going to say white. What do you do? I can get behind, I understand that, yes, this is probably not the best way to go about it. What other way is there? All right, then. So I guess that's where we're at with that. But then irrational people will abuse that power, man of house. They already have been.
That's why you get rid of the power. You don't keep it going. You get rid of it.
Great. I agree with you. Get rid of it. But while it's still there, I'm totally supporting Trump and using it. It's not like
that is the wrong attitude to have, because then you're basically saying, as long as my guy's in power, it's okay. And that's a complete lack of conviction.
I didn't like it when fucking Obama used it. And he used it liberally.
Yeah. So why would you want somebody else to use it?
Well,
the idea is that
support getting rid of it instead.
Yes.
I do support getting rid of it. I do.
You have to be principled about it.
I do support getting rid of it. But while it's still there, I would like that. I would like border enforcement. And if that's the only way we're going to get it, and it's an option on the table, fuck it, use it.
Yeah, I mean, there is a debate to be had on whether it's a legitimate use, whether it constitutes a national emergency. I can definitely see the argument for it. I can also see the argument that it's not. because slow rolling crises like this, it's hard to describe them as crises. Just because typically when you think national emergency, you think like, oh, there's this immediate unforeseen threat, whereas this has been an issue for years. It's just nobody's dealt with it until now. But like the actual magnitude of the problem,
a national emergency?
Yeah,
and
that's the argument is like
nobody's done anything.
Yeah. That's the thing is it's just as much of a threat to our country. And you can definitely make that case. On the other side, you can easily make the case that, okay, well, if we've had time to deal with this, why can't we just deal with it, through congressional means instead of executive?
Right. I would love for that to be the case. And I really feel like, I don't know why Nicole G is saying HOA with a question mark.
I was talking to Rick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was talking. Would you allow your child to be a member of the House, assuming they are 18 years? A member of what house?
Of your house.
HOA.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. Honestly, why not?
Yeah, it would depend on the child and what type of relationship I had with them, and if I want them seeing everything I put in there. But
Homeowners Association. No. But I've heard that joke made before, so.
I mean, you're the one that chose the name.
I am it, and I knew going into it. I knew that would be a possible potential joke that I would have to face, and I was right.
Here we are.
But anyway, I was like, I don't care. That's fine. If the worst you can say is homeowners association, like then yeah, I'm fine with that. So anyway, I guess we've probably we finished that topic. We don't need to talk about that anymore. Moving on, let's talk about movies. Let's talk about entertainment. Let's talk about shows first. I know, Rick, you want to get to a movie, and we'll talk about that. But first, there's some shows that finished that I wanted to talk about last time, but I didn't get a chance. Or that I remember. I'm wrong. What's the name of that show? True Detective. Step.
We still haven't watched it yet, so
no problem. No spoilers.
Okay.
I will say this: that it comes to a point where you figure you've reached the end, and for me, I felt at that moment in the finale, I felt unsatisfied. I felt like it was hollow. I felt like it wasn't enough. It didn't fulfill. It didn't. I mean, it set things up, but it was like, wow, this is hollow. But they continue on, and that was surprising to me. The ending. I've heard mixed reviews. I've heard people say that they found the ending confusing. I didn't. I guess it's left up to interpretation. I found it quite poetic. And it gave me that substance that it's empty, that emptiness that previously. They did a good job. It was. I'm sold on that Mahershala. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name.
No idea how to say that guy's name. It's a tough one.
I think it's Mahershala or Mahershala. It's got to be Mahershala.
Shala. It's Shala. That's that. I've heard that once. So yeah, go with the Shala.
It is Shala?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I heard it.
I enjoyed that show very well. I Am the Night finished up. I really like that show, but I recommend, as much as I recommend everyone watch that show because it was highly entertaining and it's quite the mind fuck from start to finish. I definitely recommend you look into the actual story because there is some serious poetic license being used in that show. In a lot of ways, like the lead character played by Chris Pine, as far as I know, doesn't actually exist. He's just too story long. There's events that happen in the show that, as far as I know, never took place in real life. Like a lot of they embellish a lot, but when you look at what the actual story is, it's still a fucking wild story. Like it's still unbelievable. So definitely recommend it. Good show. Good show. Doom Patrol's going on. Enjoy it. I'll watch anything with Brendan Fraser. I love that guy. I'm just glad to see him doing something again. Yeah, The Watchmen is coming out soon, I think. And Game of Thrones is coming back next month, huh?
Yes,
Anybody excited
indeed.
for that?
Oh God,
I'm
yeah.
so excited. They just came out with a trailer for it. I watched that.
See, I never watched trailers.
He will pick his ears up and close his eyes if a trailer.
I will.
So he won't see it.
I will, because I have it's an thing. I have a generally a very to movies and things like that. Like it'll just stick with me, and I'll just be like, oh yeah, this is about to happen. God damn it. So yeah, if it's something I'm really interested in, then I'll try to avoid trailers altogether.
That's interesting. I mean, I guess sometimes, yeah. I don't know. I enjoy the trailer. It gives me, I expect most of the trailer is just that. It's just a teaser. It doesn't give you the whole story view, give everything. Every once in a while, there's a movie that comes out, and the trailer is a highlight in the fucking movie, and you're like, I didn't need to watch this 2-hour fucking piece of shit. I just needed to watch the trailer. But I think that's a rarity. I think most of the time trailers are, I don't know, they're fun. I enjoy them. And I enjoyed this one, so I can't wait for the new season. I was pissed.
Do any of y'all read the books?
I have not read the books.
Yeah, I've read all the books. Game of Thrones.
I've heard they're good.
No, they're fantastic.
Yeah. I hated the fourth book, Feast for Crows. It sucked a big fat cock. But other than that, they were all pretty good. Dance with Dragons, the last one was okay. But God, the fourth one I just really fucking hated. I had a hard time getting through it. But yeah, the books are really good though, overall. I mean, it's still a good book, just compared to the third one, which was amazing and the best in the series. The fourth was, I did not enjoy it.
Huh, I'll have to check them out. My apologies, pardon me. So Rick wants to talk about, and I do too, he wants to talk about the new movie. Now, there's some controversy with that. Seen it yet? It's out, right? I think it just came out.
No, it
I
comes
don't
out
think it's out
Friday.
yet.
Comes out. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about another that's too, in my opinion, Captain Marvel, Alita, Battle Angel, which is out and which I have seen twice already. Now, anybody not familiar with the controversy behind Captain Marvel, there's a number of things. Number one, Brie Larson, who plays Captain Marvel, has come out publicly on Twitter and in interviews online and in articles as being kind of hostile towards the fan base, saying she doesn't want anybody, she doesn't want white men to dominate the premiere, and this isn't a movie for men, and just a lot of the leftist SJW kind of propaganda you would expect. She's not been good PR. I mean, especially when you consider how Gal Gadot, or I assume that's how you pronounce her last name?
Gadot. I
Yeah,
don't know.
Gadot.
she played Wonder Woman. She an amazing job of promoting in interviews and in articles. She went down. It was a movie for everyone. She promoted. She highlighted without denigrating men. She highlighted how this was a movie not just for women and young girls, but for everyone. It was Brie is very much she's doing everything the opposite that Gal Gadot did, and it's showing. I mean, the projections initially for its opening were something like 180 million, and it dropped to 150, and then it dropped to 100, and now it's still 80. Like they keep lowering their expectations, and I think a lot of it has to do with this SJW leftist kind of approach to things, which is definitely what Captain Marvel's doing. And they're touting it like it's the first ever fucking female protagonist ever. No sci-fi, sci-fi's never had a female protagonist like this before, or there's never been a superhero female protagonist. What the fuck are you talking about? Bitch, there's been female protagonists. Do you not remember Princess Leia from fucking 30 years ago? That bitch held her own. God damn it. Yeah, Ripley, thank you. There's plenty.
Yeah, like
anyway.
Wonder Woman, just what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah, just came out
exactly.
like not that long ago.
Yeah, and there's been other ones, they just happen to suck, like Catwoman and other things. But yeah, they just.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I was reading a review of it in the Telegraph today, and he gave it 4 out of 5 stars, right? And rather than actually focusing on the movie and if the movie was any good, he was just talking about how it's so wonderful to have a female thing. He mentioned Wonder Woman in passing, but it was like, oh, it's so empowering. This woman, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh.
So you're reviewing the fact that it's about a woman. You're not reviewing the movie.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, how about Vasquez from Aliens? I mean,
Well,
that bitch
to
was
be fair,
as bad
to
as
be
they
fair,
come.
guys, anytime there's a strong female protagonist, we should only expect it to be 77% as good. Oh.
Now here's the thing. I will probably see it, not in the theaters, but I grew up reading comics. I was a geek, so I will end up seeing this. I probably won't like it. I mean, I watched. I expect the same kind of lackluster experience that I got from Black Panther. Black Panther was hyped up as this amazing thing, and I waited and I saw it and I was not impressed. I mean, honestly, compared to a lot of the other movies in the MCU, the Marvel Comics universe of movies, compared to a lot of the other, it was kind of, it fell flat. I mean, it was all right, but I wasn't excited by it.
Yeah,
like
I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. Like, was it above average for Marvel? No, it was pretty average. Solid 7 out of 10.
I mean, average at best, in my opinion. I remember seeing Guardians of the Galaxy, and I fucking saw that thing 3 times in the movie theaters because it was so good. I mean, it's standard now. A lot of the tricks and the format and the approach that they've used several times since. But Guardian kind of in what they did with that movie and how they did it at the time. It came out of nowhere. Nobody was expecting from that movie, and it turned out to be a blockbuster. It was amazing, and I loved it. It's not what I'm expecting at all from fucking Captain Marvel. It seems like they've spent more time promoting it via propaganda.
Yeah,
more money and effort in the propaganda of it,
and
than I imagine.
I was talking about this with my friend this past weekend, and I brought up okay, she's even gone so far as to say she's not gonna interview with men, or she's like she's going to decline some
it's
interviewers to
getting
promote the movie
ridiculous.
just because they're men. Like, and what I said was like, you can be pro-woman without being anti-man.
Correct.
And
Exactly.
there was nothing wrong if she wanted to, deliberately go out and seek, high-profile women in the media
Yeah.
and say, hey, I want to do an interview with you to promote this movie. Great, go for it. I don't care. But when you say, like, I'm going to expressly not, do interviews because I don't want men to have anything to do with this, it's like, okay, well, I don't want anything to do with your movie then. Like, I was like looking forward to this because Marvel has a good record. And like this was probably going to be a good movie. But the way you're talking about this, it's just like, no, I don't want to, like, even if it is a good movie, I don't want to support it, like.
And here's my issue with that. The thinking there, I don't, I find that mind-boggling from a business perspective, because how are you not taking into account that the majority of people interested in comics and anything related to comic books, movies, and otherwise, men, boys, or men, people who, women typically aren't. Not to say that no women are, but obviously, on average, more men than women are your audience. That's your base for this kind of stuff. And for you to target them and oust them and denigrate them, it makes no sense from a business perspective.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand it.
I think it comes from this
it's
weird
really stupid
idea that any discrepancy must mean discrimination. Like, okay, more, what you say is true. More men are into these comic book movies. Oh, well, that must mean because they're sexist in some way. And so we got to fight that by bashing, the core audience.
How does being in, well,
like, and it's fundamentally wrong. It's just based on fundamentally wrong premises.
Being into comics, how is being into comics sexist?
It's not. But again, it stems from you see the same thing in that's the reason the wage gap is still believed in, is because
which is fucking retarded.
Yeah, they think like, oh, well, more women are teachers, whereas more men are, in STEM fields. Well, that must be because STEM fields are racist or are sexist, which is absurd. No, it's just the matter is women just make different choices, and when taken as a group, unless you can actually point to actual sexism, there's nothing there.
Right. Now, I want to talk about James Cameron's new movie, which came out recently, just the other day. Battle Angel Alita. I don't know if anybody else has seen it. I have. And hold on, I'm trying to find her name. Rosa Salazar is the lead actress. I didn't even know. Here was a sleeper thing. I'm a huge, I've had a crush on Jennifer Connelly since I was a kid, since fucking Labyrinth. Like, I've wanted to live inside that woman's body since I was a kid. And she was a pleasant surprise in this movie. She's in the movie. I won't say any more than that, but she's in the movie. This moved very different way. And it's kind of been in the shadow of Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has been pushing hard to get its name and get its product put out there and have everybody see it. I don't feel like that was promoted nearly as hard. However, the approach they took was far better, in my opinion. And the movie should stand on its own, man. It is fucking amazing. This movie, to give you an idea of the difference in approach that I'm talking about, you've got Brie Larson saying, I don't want men involved in this, fuck men, while the producers for Battle Angel, Alita, promoted their movie by providing a girl with a free prosthetic, like top of the line, like a brand new prototype of some sort, and she's been going around like showing everybody, like they
That's
just
cool.
gave it to her. Yeah,
Very
she
cool.
was
The free
missing
market
her, I think it's her right
provides.
arm. What's that?
The free market provides.
Right? Like, I mean, I can't think of a better one. Like, it's humanitarian.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a fucking marketing stunt, but it worked for me. Like, I was like, that's pretty cool. But then again, I'm a diehard because this is something I grew up with. For those who don't know, this is a live action version of a anime that came out in the 80s, like mid 80s. But this is the stuff I grew up with. I remember late 80s, early 90s when anime started becoming more prominent in the comic book stores. There was a comic book store near me that rented out movies. And these movies were new here, but old where they were made. Akira. I remember the first time I saw Akira, I was like 11. I was blown away, man. That movie still stands up compared to the anime that's coming out today. I don't know how some of these anime that are made today, like I'm really not a fan of the anime of today because it doesn't really have the substance that they did then. You can make the argument that the artwork has progressed. Sure, I'm sure it has, but the storytelling and the vision and the imagination that went into those stories, like Akira and Battle Angel, which admittedly I rewatched Alita Battle Angel, the original hour-long anime. It's kind of hokey. I mean, it's still cool because it's got that nostalgia attached to it, but it's like, well, this is kind of cheesy. The fight scenes were great, and you can obviously see that was the highlight, the focus. The rest of it kind of that's what everything else about the story kind of hinged on. These badass fucking fight scenes with this tiny little female, who's killing everybody. It was kind of cool. They went above and beyond with the film, and in my opinion, it gives you a juxtaposition. It gives you. I can't wait to actually see Captain Marvel, to be able to compare the two, because of the lack of marketing, in my opinion, that went with Alita Battle Angel. I didn't expect much. I guess I should have expected more, because James Cameron and fucking, what's his name? Jackson? The guy who did the Kong movies, and he did, before that, he did the, Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
Peter Jackson, right? Is that, do I have his name right?
Whatever. Yeah.
Those two, the primary, the producers on this project, and the CGI that went into this was groundbreaking. Apparently, like, they did some things that have never been done before. I watched you can go on YouTube and kind of watch, like, there's 20 or 30 minute snippet clips of the behind the scenes, where it shows you what Rosa Salazar had to do to fucking do these, to act these scenes out. She had to wear this suit, and it had all this headgear attached to it. I mean, in order to get the face, because they did her face up, which is obvious.
They gave her
if you've
anime eyes
seen the trailer, like, her eyes are too big and everything, and that was on purpose. And I remember when I first heard about that, I thought, well, that's gonna be stupid. It's not. It really isn't. It works, and it's a larger than life movie. It really is. Like, it. Finished watching it, I was like, how the fuck did I think it was going to be anything other than grand, given that fucking God damn it, I just said his name and I forgot his name. What's his fucking name? Not Peter Jackson, but the other guy, James Cameron. Everything he does, like, this is the Avatar guy, and this is the guy who's like, let me spend more money than God on a movie, and now I'm going to make Battle Angel look fucking amazing. I cannot sing its praises enough. On top of that, it gives a female protagonist who is not a Mary Sue. She's not given everything. As powerful and as badass as she is in the film, she is flawed, and she faces actual trials and tribulations. She struggles, and so she's obviously not a Mary Sue. Like, there's some real for a movie based on a fucking anime from 30 years ago. There's so much went into this film. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough, and I feel like this is the movie Captain Marvel wants to be, but can't be because it just didn't come from the right place. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I don't know if you follow Neon Taster on Twitter.
I don't know who that is or what that is.
He's a famous like political account. But his theory regarding Captain Marvel is that the movie itself is actually like really mainstream and not this feminist SJW thing. But Brie Larson is basically trying to pander to that audience to get them to see it, because otherwise it won't have the impact that she wants it to. But like
really?
The movie itself is just fine. That's his theory, obviously. Like, it hasn't come out yet, so no one can say for sure. But
I don't know. I feel like it gives you glimpses of some of the SJW propaganda that you can that I imagine you can expect from that film in the trailers. In that if you take the character of Samuel L. Jackson's character, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., what's his fucking name?
Nick Fury.
The guy with the one eye? Nick Fury, thank
Yep.
you. God, I'm horrible with names. Anyway, Nick Fury, his character in all the other MCU movies that he's very confident, independent, kind of a hard ass, kind of a badass kind of dude, is the way the character's portrayed. And in this, he kind of very much like he's not that, where she not denigrates, she mocks and kind of humiliates him, and then he's playing with a kitty while she's like, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different for the character.
I mean, it is set in the 90s, though, so maybe this is kind of the old progression of the character, like before he became this, total bad A, but,
Well, he's already an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, here's the thing. The character itself, from the source material, has been a badass since World War II. Because Nick Fury was Sergeant Fury back during the Second World War. Everything went quiet for Adam. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I guess you're not really hearing me say that. I get to make fun of you and you don't know what I'm saying. That's so fun. But yeah, so I don't know. I could be wrong, but the glimpses that I see don't bode well as far as this theory that you're talking about of it being a mainstream film. I hope you're right, though. I think it would be great if all of our, my expectations of it being a shit film are completely wrong. I'd love for that to be the case. It's set before the events of the main MCU. That is correct. It is. Rick, would you like to be unmuted? Did you say some things about it? Wanted to talk on it. Okay. So, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that particular subject. Go see Alita. It's fucking amazing. I don't know who this Rosa Salazar is, but man, I really enjoyed. Not only did I enjoy her performance in the film, but I went because I didn't know who she was. I decided to look her up, and then I watched a couple of like TV interviews she gave, or there's like a little YouTube compilation of her like doing interviews or being on shows talking about it, and she's just a funny girl. She seems like a really down to earth person, so I like her. far more approachable than Brie Larson, that's for sure. Did you look her up on MrSkin.com? I don't even know what MrSkin.com is. I want to click on that right. Damn it. What is that? What's Skin.com? It's porn, isn't it? I know it's porn.
For once, you're the naive one.
I know, right? I'm excited by this. So, all right. So that was.
We finally found something naughty that I know what it is and Auger doesn't. This is history, folks.
Oh. Oh yeah, there's this AOC. McIntyre brought this up. Hang on, let me find this picture. I don't know the depth of this, how serious this is, if it's real. I haven't done any research yet, but I just posted a pic that Mac shared earlier in one of our chats. Apparently, her chief of staff and she are looking at possible serious prison sentences over major violations in election law. Coordinating with a PAC that supports human in election is illegal. AOC ran the PAC, which is worse than coordinating with a PAC. AOC denies violations. Of course, she's going to deny them. Whether that means is neither here nor there. I don't know. This kind of makes me. Do you think it's true? Do you think that's? I mean, it seems like something.
It's very well true. Whether thing actually happens besides fines is very.
Why do you feel that's the case?
Because I'm not going to do that to her.
Why aren't they? She's brand new.
People do campaign violations a lot, and usually you end up with fines. Like the Obamas were fined. All the time. Yeah, they were fined. I mean, because the report requirements, quite honestly, are kind of insane. But I mean, I understand why they do it. But yeah, no, I mean, the Obamas were fined. The campaign was fined like $1 million, $2 million for violations for not declaring certain stuff. So it happens all the time. Whether or not there's real meat to it, that'll depend on what the FEC finds. That's the Federal Election Commission. But no, so far it doesn't look. It certainly looks like they did some dodgy shit. That's for sure. But again, consequences will probably be minor.
Wow. Is Adam still with us?
Me?
The Hood, I mean?
He says, Josh, you fool, the laws only apply to us plebes.
Yeah, I see that. Adam, do you want to give us your lawyer's perspective on this?
You might be having a Discord.
There he is.
There. Hey.
Yeah, there we go. Sorry, it kept server muting me. So here's the deal. Campaign finance laws are very, very commonly broken. Pretty much any campaign of any consequence is going to break some stupid somewhere. But I think Joel is right on this one. This will be a nothing sandwich. It's going to result in a fine, if that, or they're going to say unintentional and they'll move on. Now, what is interesting is this. AOC is an anomaly to me. I mean, I think the woman is dumber than rocks. And it baffles me why the hell she's so damn popular. I mean, everyone, she has a great set of tits and a decent smile, which doesn't look like a horse. But the woman's just batshit crazy. I don't think her own party likes her. I think Nancy and Feinstein and all the others fucking hate her because she keeps saying all this radical shit.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to cost them the election in 2020. The Democrats keep running as clowns, which, they're not going to. I think they're going to hand Trump a second term, something that I didn't think was possible when he first got elected. Honestly, with this whole campaign finance, everything, I don't see much coming from this. I mean, they're going to probably quietly have an inquiry saying, yeah, there was some wrongdoing, and not even fine her or just tell her don't do it again. But again, I'm waiting for the facts to come out because from what I read earlier, now this was on blaze.com, which is not the most, or the Blaze or one of those that's not the most centrist or, unbiased. They said that she absolutely knew that her campaign manager was running $1 plus slush fund, that she the political action committee that the money was being funneled to, which is apparently a big no-no.
Correct. Yeah.
What it said. I think they're going to use this as cannon fodder in the media. Double standard and yell and scream. And this is a Republican. You know damn well that he would have gone to jail, et cetera, et cetera. But nothing's going to happen to her.
You're probably right.
I mean,
I'm not happy about that, but you're probably right. Here's the thing, in regards to you saying that you don't think that her own party likes her, and I've said this before on the show, it is clear that the Democratic Party right now is split.
Oh, of course.
If not down the middle, then there's multiple splits. You've got sort of an old guard and new guard thing happening right now. You've got Pelosi and Schumer and Schiff and people like that who represent the old standard, the old guard. And then you've got the batshit insane AOCs and the Ilhan Omars and the other Democrats who are kind of supporting her. And some of the old guys are falling in line with that new, fresh perspective, if you will, like Bernie. And it's just craziness. And I think as much as I disagree with Pelosi and Schumer and fucking all of them, like, I at least am thankful for the fact that they see that shit's nuts. like we're bad people, but they're crazy. Like, that's kind of how I see that. And I just,
So I'll correct you on one thing. And I mean, this is going to sound pessimistic, but I still think it's the truth, unfortunately. They see that this isn't something that's going to lead to re-election, that she's too far to the fringe left, right? And I know it sounds terrible, but, I've said this before on the show. I don't think there's but maybe a handful of members of Congress on either side that wouldn't try the route as a nighttime second term or a third term, whatever it is. I think they're all despicable fucking human beings, Republicans and Democrats alike. And so I think they see AOC driving their own party away because, like, hey, this woman's fucking crazy. Or who did the number one thing that you can't do in politics. She made fun of Jews. Or not made fun of Jews, but, she criticized Israel. Jews vote almost, was it 85 or 90% Democratic, which I don't understand why that is. I don't know if we have any Jewish people in here that could.
It's typically not the religious Jews. Actually, you're talking about ethnic Jews.
I've heard the answer to that is that the Jews here are not like practicing and committed to the faith. So you're talking about the majority of U.S. Jewish folks who this percentage that you're talking about of Jews who are voting Democrat it's directly related to the stance.
Yeah, they're the secular Jews.
Yeah, they're not heavy into the faith, and the Jews who are heavily conservative. At least that's what I've come to understand. That's what I've read, and that's what I've heard.
What's interesting to me too is, and I don't know where this relation lies between it, but in my opinion, it looks like the Republicans, not just recently, I mean, going back as far as I can remember, have endeared themselves to Israel more than the Democrats have. At least that's my memory of it, the last 15, 20 years. I might be wrong on that, to be perfectly honest. For me, I have views on the Middle East. My family's from the Middle East, and I don't have favorable views on much of any of it. But aside from that,
okay.
Excuse me. Sorry. Excuse me. Sorry, I've been talking all day. I just picked a jury. But anyways, what was I going to say? What? This is, I think, at the end of the day. What?
Go ahead.
So, I think this comes down to the money. A large percentage of donors are Jewish. And, you can say, oh, that's Zionist, conspiracy. No, it's the truth. They absolutely are. I remember a line from Charlie Wilson's War, which is a fantastic movie if you haven't seen it, with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, it is. It's great.
And he's from this little hick town in the middle of nowhere, fucking Texas, like District 73 or something. And he makes a line. He goes, "Why the hell do your people care?" He goes, "You gotta understand." He goes, "I am put in office and elected by Jews, by New York Jews." and I'm laughing. I'm like, but it's kind of the truth. No one gives a shit about whatever district he was from in the middle of West Texas, what have you. But I'm a firm believer of following the money. And so Ilhan Omar, when she made all these statements, this isn't the first controversial thing she said. I think the woman's a fucking radical, crazy, batshit crazy bitch.
Ilhan?
Her and AOC, and who's the other one? The one that gosh, she looks like a man to me. She wears glasses.
Oh, Rashida Tlaib.
The one that made comments about Trump, like immediately after getting elected, she was like, "We're gonna throw that fucker into the ground."
Oh yeah, that's Rashida Tlaib. I think.
Tlaib. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, all three of them are like the unholy trinity of stupidity, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Ken, because this is kind of a topic that I wanted to touch on anyway, and since we're here, regarding Ilhan Omar's tweets and comments regarding Israel and her as you said, she's criticized Israel, and people. There's the two sides or two stories to this. One is that what she has said has been taken as anti-Semitic, and racist, bigoted, and there's been I forget who it was, but somebody in the House floor was demanding that she apologize, and I guess as a result of this, there's going to be a bill presented to the floor about like.
It's condemning anti-Semitism.
Against anti-Semitism. Vote if you're against anti-Semitism. Vote. Raise your hand. I guess they're kind of forcing everybody to take a stance on that. Result of her criticisms. Now, others have said that she's just speaking truth to power. I hate using that because it's so connected to the left these days. And that she's raising legitimate concerns that everybody else is afraid to do because they're bought and paid for by Jews and by Israel. What is your perspective on that? Do you agree with either of those perspectives? And if so, why? Why?
I actually think both sides are right in this, believe it or not, and both sides are also wrong.
Interesting.
Yeah, no. I mean, so my own personal belief, y'all might like it or not, but I think Israel has gotten a free pass for pretty much anything and everything that they've done for as long as I've been alive. Right now, granted,
what a free pass for? Can you tell me a free pass for what? That implies that they're doing bad things.
Absolutely.
What bad things are they doing?
All right. Yeah, and this is an interesting deal too. I wondered. There's two parts to this answer. So I asked myself, would war in the Middle East stop if Israel suddenly disappeared? And I think the answer is unequivocally no. Middle East has been basically in a state of constant war for the last 1,000 years.
It's longer than that, but yes.
I mean, really, before that, who gives a shit, right? So just yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, really, you could say as early as 700 AD with, Prophet Muhammad, bullshit. But so there is the history of the Middle East is nothing. I mean, honestly, we could spend an entire year fucking talking about it and watch a clusterfuck. But to be honest, I think where you actually have to look at it is 1919, when they carved up the Ottoman Empire, right? So after World War I, the Ottoman Empire basically all of most of the Middle East today, Lebanon, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Iran, et cetera, et cetera. They carved it up because they're like, hey, you just fucking lost this war, and the Ottomans way out anyways. But when they did it up, they cooked in such a way that they basically are geographic lines and known resource lines. And they tried to make it more towards the latter of known resources. Well, as it turned out, I completely fucking wrong. That's why Saudi Arabia has like the most oil, because they used to think Saudi Arabia was mostly barren of oil because they didn't know what the hell they were looking for, right?
Right.
And I'm not going to go in the history of oil field, whatever, but it was nothing like today. They didn't have sonar. I mean, they basically went out there with a very primitive Geiger counter, detected radiation, and said, "Oh, yep, there's some oil here."
Yeah,
and that was it. I mean, it was laughably simple.
It was still in its infancy at that point.
What was in its infancy? I'm sorry?
The oil industry?
Yeah, no, absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. I mean, you had Rockefeller and all those that were booming, but to be honest, we weren't even doing with oil. I mean, we threw away most of the barrel. I mean, a modern refinery would cry if they saw it. We basically just took oil to produce kerosene. And then some very primitive forms of gasoline. Nowadays, I mean, the science is just leaps and bounds. But aside from that, so you have countries that were divvied up, that were basically inequitably split. But more importantly, you also split up cultural tribes and put them into different groups that never entire fucking existence ever go with each other. In fact, a lot of them didn't even the same fucking language. There's 12 dialects of Arabic. A lot of people don't know that. Farsi is one that. Go on.
No. Go ahead.
So you have these people who live together and all the other shit, and all hell loose. 1948, I believe it was, May of 48, when they create Israel, and they put it smack dab in the middle of an already kind of fucked up region. And I mean this basically traces back to the very part of what it is, the Palestine-Israel deal. Now, to be honest with you, I don't think Israel caused the discord that you see in the Middle East, but it sure as hell didn't do anything to soothe feathers. I mean, a lot of people got pissed off to hell.
This is something that we could that you and I would be able to spend an hour and a half, if not longer, on, because I highly disagree, and I have my reasons for doing so, and I don't want to bore everybody. I mean, they were there a lot longer before 1948. That their attempts from the 40s to now, they've on at least two separate occasions come to the Palestinians with a two-state solution, where they were willing to go back pre-60s to the pre-60s map, give them back like more than 60% of the landmass that they lost to Israel, and they were willing to sacrifice that or divvy that back up, give it back, as it were. And the Palestinians have refused at every turn. You've got a people who have voted in a globally recognized terrorist organization as their government. Like, these are not the perspective that seems to be held in place primarily here in the States, of Palestine being the oppressed and Israel being the oppressor, in my opinion, is very much is by design, and it's intentional, and it's false and fraudulent, and it's not at all the truth.
And the other side of that coin is there's so many people that, I mean, like you said, they'll say, oh, Israel's done bad things. Okay, not taking into account everyone that they're surrounded with. Every country around them wants their entire existence to be exterminated.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna try to defend yourself in those situations, and rockets will be launched. But that's because rockets are being launched at you. And
that's the part of the story that keeps getting left out.
Exactly.
They keep pointing, look at what Israel did to Palestine, without including
what prompted this. Was it the multiple acts of terror?
Palestine provoked it, which is typically the case. Palestine, you know what? The thing that Israel does is it gives all these Arabs a common enemy that they wouldn't otherwise have. Because and here's the thing, all of these various, the Sunni, the Shiites, or I'm sorry, the Sunni and the Shiites, I said that wrong. they agree on 99% of Islam. It's that 1% that keeps them at each other's throat. Like these are not more than 50% of the Arab world in the Middle East. More than 50% of it is inbred. There's some serious fucking problems, and I don't believe that Israel, number one, caused them, or number two, contributed to them. If anything, all I've seen is a people that has tried to maintain independence and maintain peace. Like we just want to be left alone.
Yeah, and the other really telling stat, the other really telling stat is the percentage of Muslims that live in Israel is 20%. Yes! The percentage of Jews that live in Palestine, 0%.
0.
That's really telling. Which country is the tolerant one here? You know, if you listen to like the mainstream narrative, the tolerant one is Palestine and the oppressor is Israel, and it's just completely backwards. Israel is a free country, like relatively speaking, compared to San Narnia. Right.
But I understand that you may hold a different perspective, Adam. And you know what? I think you're a hell of a lot smarter than I am, so maybe you know something I don't. Oh, did we lose him?
I'm here.
Adam, did you hear us defending Israel? And you said, fuck these guys. Did you bounce? All right.
No, I'm here. Listening.
What's that?
No, I'm just listening.
You're cutting in and out. All right.
Yeah, let's move on to the next topic, which should be.
You know what?
That's a good one.
Talking. What are we talking about?
Pubic hair, yes or no? Remember? That was supposed to be like 2 weeks ago.
Well, thank you to both Adams for discussing that topic. I know that's not always an easy topic to just say that first. But now, pubic hair. And I want to extend this because at first this was supposed to be just about female pubic hair, but now let's just talk about pubic hair in general. Should it be there? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Yes, no, and if so, why?
I would say that on men, I prefer them to be groomed and not out of.
So you don't want them to be completely bald?
No, I'm not into that on guys. No.
So you really like you want hair on the balls?
No, I shave the balls.
He does.
But the rest is groomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you nick something with a beard trimmer, it's pretty bad.
You don't use a beard trimmer, Jesus Christ. You have to use a razor for that.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's why I use a razor.
Oh, okay, yeah. Were you saying something, John?
Okay. No. There were a couple of people talking at the same time, so I wasn't sure what Adam was saying. Was Adam saying he shaves?
I'll shave the sack.
That's my man right there. Yeah.
That's the appropriate
Joel
style.
prefers it.
That's
how Joel wants it. He wants a clean shaven scrotum.
if you work in 100-degree heat, you're not going to want hairy balls like I've got, believe me.
I don't know. You know what? Isn't that when you want the hair? Because the hair kind of absorbs the sweat.
The hair doesn't. No, it does not.
No. It's just
if
gross.
you have a clean shaven scrotum and you're working in heat all the time, then you've got swampy balls. You've got like balls just sitting in a pool.
Your
swampy no matter.
Your underwear is going to be wet with sweat anyway, no matter what you do. So
It just.
I'm
playing devil's advocate. Both. I pull the hair out of my balls anyway. So.
I've tried both, so I know which one works best for me. I can tell you that.
But as far as girls go, I used to be the longest time. I was like very pro, always completely bald. I started off shaving very young, and then I went full Brazilian for a long time. And now I'm more like, occasionally go full bald, but sometimes just keep it well kempt and you're good to go. I don't really care anymore.
See, here's my thing. When it comes to women, you know, when I was like 16, there's a brief period where, like, I grew up with 80s and 70s porn. When I was a kid, that was those VHS films and the magazines. So those women had like full bush.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't until the 90s that porn started to show landing pads, landing strips, or what have you, or you know, clean shaven. So when I having sex in my late teens is when I first started to experience women who were completely shaving, and it was a novelty because I was used to seeing other things. You know, I was used to seeing hair. So for a brief period there, I was like, well, this is kind of neat. This is different. But I don't know. It was only a couple of years or so where it lost its luster for me. Like, I prefer hair. Maybe not a lot, but I think more than a landing pad or strip, whatever, which you prefer. You know, I to me, that's a woman. Having it completely shaven, I don't know. It's
juvenile and kind of disgusting because it's a little bit sketchy.
Wait, what?
It's kind of pedo-y, is what she's saying.
Yeah.
I can understand
I don't think
that.
so.
I mean,
I just, for me personally, when I'm going down on a chick, there's got to be something going there. I'm really big. I don't want like 70s bush. Basically, I love everything from the 70s except the bush. But I prefer personally to have something going on there. And TMI alert, once you get enough piercings, not only is it problematic to fucking shave all the way down everywhere, B, it also becomes rather uncomfortable with your underwear and jeans combination and no fuzz to cushion. It's a thing.
Oh, so hair becomes productive.
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I even kind of agree with that, and that's why I don't full shave or full wax anymore. Is because I mean, y'all already know now from previous shows, I don't like to wear underwear, and I'm working outside all the time, and it's like a nice little soft, well kept protection.
Yes.
You use your hair as your underwear.
Yeah, there you go. It's under hair.
That's a horrible image. God.
Yeah.
It's under hair.
I'm not saying that it grows everywhere that underwear would normally be.
God, I hope not. Jesus Christ, we can't all be Joel.
If it did, I'd be like, well, shit, now I know why the two of you are together.
Oh, God.
Joe was like, nobody's going to fuck me with this hair on me. And then he met a woman. He was like, look at my underwear. And he was like, I found somebody hairy than me. Oh,
it's funny and disgusting.
Yeah, I prefer hair. I mean, honestly, as I've gotten older, my preference for pubic hair has gradually increased. Like, you know, when I got tired of the baldness, I was like, a landing strip, and then I was like, well, maybe a little more, and then maybe a little more, and to the point now where it's like, I am not against a full bush. Like, maybe not like that early 60s bush where it's just like it covers up to her belly button and she
goes like creeps
all the way
down
up her
the inner
ass crack
thighs.
and yeah. Not that kind. Like, you definitely need to do something about that. But
yeah,
just right above, you know. Just a good patch of hair right above.
Yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, to me, like just some basic landscaping is important, but I feel like go full shave, and God.
What?
She cut out. I don't know what happened.
That keeps happening tonight.
All fucking day. I'm not trying to come home and try to focus on, oh shit, what am I doing to my skin here? But I feel like personally, as not only a woman, but a connoisseur also of women, I just think that I prefer slightly less maintenance and upkeep in both fucking directions. But again, but there's a fucking limit. Like, if I'm going down and I'm like flossing my fucking teeth while I'm down there,
no.
I don't really care for that as much at all.
You know what trips me out? This I mean, it seems to be a dying trend, or I don't know how to put it, but it used to be that transgenders, like, they used to let hair grow down there, and I was like, if you're gonna pretend to be a girl but keep your dick, you've got to fucking, you got to do something. You can't be all wearing makeup and having a skirt and hairier balls than I do. Like, that just doesn't work. That is weird. You can't do, or they got a man's hairy ass crack, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, either commit to the role or don't. Like, this weird fucking hybrid you got going on has got to stop. And that seems to be a trend that's died out. Like, they all seem to be waxing themselves these days, or whatever it is they're doing to keep themselves clean. So, thank goodness they figured that shit out. You know what's funny? I think it's weird. Well, I've probably said this before, but I think it's been a while since I have. I think it's weird to imagine sex with transgenders who are post-op. Like, I would never be, if I were held at gunpoint, which you wouldn't have to, but just for the purpose of the scenario, if you held me at gunpoint and said you have to fuck one of these transgenders and one's a post and one's a pre-op, I'm fucking the dude with tits, because that's creepy to me. I'm not fucking somebody. That's not a vagina. That's a mutilated penis that you have turned into a wound, and I'm not putting my penis in that. That's it makes my skin crawl. Like, can you imagine just chopping a dude's dick and balls off, and then his fucking bloody hole? You're just like, yeah, stick your dick in that, because that's what my mind goes to, and I'm like, no thanks.
Augie, most of them aren't trying to get laid like 2 minutes out of surgery, bro. Like, they're usually not bloody anymore. By the time you get to them, that's a thing, right?
Yes, I'm aware of the fact they're not just chopping their. Obviously, like, I know that I've seen the procedure. I've seen how they do it. Like, they use all the meat and stuff to fashion the actual vagina.
Well,
like, they're not just.
Yeah.
They're right. They're slicing and dicing and then putting it all back in a different, configuration. Oh, you've got a vagina. It's not just they're chopping it off and leaving you with a hole, obviously. I'm just saying that emotionally and mentally, even though I'm seeing a vagina, I know what that was. Like, and that fucks me. I can't. No, I'm not putting my dick in your dick wound. I'm not doing it.
Instead, you'll just get with an actual dick.
You have a dick wound. I won't. No, I can't do it.
Oh, God.
You have a dick wound, and I can't fuck with you after that. Like, you no. That it makes my skin crawl.
Is there a lot of like sound coming through?
It was other Adam, and I muted.
It was other Adam. Yeah,
okay.
I muted him too.
I didn't want to point fingers because that we all know what that would look like. But
me and my dick wound, bro. Oh my God, that's the bar come on. Like that's the best bar come on line ever. Hey yo, fuck me in my dick wound, bro. God, that's fucking creepy as shit. Oh, hey, speaking of which, we have some we have a topic that we need to address that directly relates to sativa. Last episode.
You're telling me dick wounds don't directly pertain to me? Because they
Not directly, I don't think so. I mean, how many transgender post-ops have you fucked?
Well, you weren't specifying that. I was just saying of the dick in general is kind of my jam.
Oh, yeah. Well, wounds in general are kind of your jam. Like, are you familiar with the 90s movie Crash?
Yes.
You strike me as somebody who would watch that and go, yeah, yeah, I get it. I can relate. I'm into it. I want to do that.
You're not wrong.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. For anybody listening who's not familiar with the film, it's actually a quite a wild ride. It's fun to watch. It's people who are addicted, they're sexually, they prefer, how do you put this? I guess they have a fetish for having sex post car crash. Like they drive too fast, they crash, and then they're horny, and while they're laying wounded, bleeding, they fuck each other like that. Literally, that's a scene in the movie. Go watch this movie. It's
It's pretty great.
Yeah, it's Spader is in it back when he was young.
Yep, Spader.
James Spader. I love that guy. Anyway, last episode we talked about I Am the Night, and the person and issue that dealt with was Dr. George Hodel. And I went into detail about him and his relation to the Black Dahlia murder, and how he was a prime suspect, and then blah, blah, blah. And at that time, Sativa rallied against me.
She did.
And called me names.
I did not call you
down.
names.
You shush for a second and let me embellish.
Okay.
She called me names, threatened me and my family. And then
I showed up in the house, you guys.
And then continued to explain to me how Ed Edwards was clearly the actual suspect responsible for Elizabeth Short's murder, aka the Black Dahlia. I requested, she demanded, you do your fucking research, asshole. I believe is a direct quote of Sativa's. and I did just that. I was like, all right, I'll be the asshole research. And it took me not even 5 minutes to dispute. I was highly disappointed, and I expect a full written apology from Sativa after this, including rights to the name of her next child.
Well, good for us. I'm fixed.
Okay, so the Black Dahlia murder. Sativa claims that Ed Edwards is the primary suspect. The Black Dahlia murder took place, I believe, in 1947.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Edwards was born in 1933, making him, at time, 13 or 14 years old.
How many? You cut out, Augie. How many years old?
Making Ed Edwards at that time, at the time of Elizabeth Short's murder, 13 or 14 years old.
Yep.
Now, it is clear to everyone, it has been stated and written then and now, that whoever was responsible for the murder of the Black Dahlia not only knew the suspect well, but had extensive knowledge medically to be able to perform the incisions and separations of limbs and torso that were evident there in the body that was left behind. There is no way a 13 or 14-year-old fucking boy. We're talking about somebody who he didn't have any medical knowledge. He's 13. Can't drive a car. How the fuck did he cut that body up and drag the pieces into that fucking field? Nobody saw a 13-year-old dragging a body with him?
Obviously, nobody saw anybody dragging a body with him.
What?
Obviously, nobody saw anybody dragging that body with him. So,
because
nobody's seeing this kind of a moot point.
She wasn't killed there. That was obvious in the investigation. The body was dropped there. She was killed elsewhere. Mm-hmm. In order for him, for a 13-year-old, there's no way. There's no way. There's no way a 13-fucking-year-old boy pulled that off.
You ready for something awesome, Augie?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah? You sure about this? Everything goes close attention? All right.
Do it to it.
So, Augie, you went out and you did all this research on Ed Edwards, right?
Oh, boy.
Subsequently, you also did a fair bit of research, obviously, on the Black Dahlia murder itself to coincide with your research on Ed Edwards, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're all fucking feisty. You're in feisty Augie mode about it, right?
Oh, boy. Here we go.
You're welcome. I'm an educator of mankind. Now that's another serial killer that you know about. Good job doing the research, homie.
You got played.
You're a fucking dick. You are a dick. You have sidestepped your judgment. That is a dirty fucking trick.
No, really though, I do think so.
I don't accept it.
I do, however, believe that Ed Edwards is probably one of the most underrated serial killers of all time, and I do believe that there's a good chance that he was responsible for the Zodiac murders.
There is some good implication there that he may have been responsible for those. Yes.
Side note, though, the whole Black Dahlia thing, they actually have a photograph of Ed Edwards with Elizabeth Short from about 3 days before she died.
Actually, the only person claiming that was the person who wrote the book about Ed Edwards, who that investigator.
Oh, it's just the guy that wrote the book.
Well, there's nobody else who verifies that that's who that is in the photo. The kid in the photo that he's claiming is Ed Edwards doesn't even look like Ed Edwards.
But guess what?
The veracity of
this claim with me because he went and did a whole bunch of research.
Dubious at best.
But you know that now. You know that now because
son of a bitch, you are a fucking asshole prick for fucking trying to pull that shit with me. you stake in the grass, trying to sneak out of my fucking grasp. Like, oh, nope, I knew the whole time that wasn't him, and I just did that to get you to research him. Like, you fucking lying sack of shit. This is why.
And this is 2 weeks
why domestic abuse happens. Right here.
If you think you're the first man that said that to me today, sir, I've got news for you, first of all.
I don't doubt that in the least. I don't.
Second of all, this is part of my master plan to begin my hypothetical by taking over your group. Because now this is 2 weeks in a row that we have talked about serial killers, the HOA show. And as I understand, happened before I came along.
You think that I wouldn't talk about serial killer anyway? Like, this is a fun topic. By the way, I went ahead and renamed the basement to Sativa's.
I saw.
Sativa's
That's so
Dungeon.
sweet. Thank you.
It just made sense. So
It did. It really did.
13. Let's see what Betty said. 13-year-old murdered someone and buried the body. Most likely, if he was from Chicago and was a son from a single mother from a girlfriend farm who's what? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Can we masturbate in Sativa's dungeon?
What the fuck is it there for?
Only if there's death, murder, or gore involved somehow.
Yeah, Abby.
Like, that's if you just want to masturbate, go to the bathroom, or not the bathroom. I'm sorry, the bedroom.
Wow.
But if you're looking to masturbate over dead body, then that's where you go to Sativa's dungeon.
Yeah.
All right. So what?
We have cookies.
I know we're almost out of time, but
I'm so proud of you for doing all that research, Augie.
I had already started that research, at least into the Black Dahlia murder, when I looked up George Hodel, because I wanted to know some of the details. And it's not like I haven't looked into the Black Dahlia murder before. It's just I needed a refresher course. But then your claim that Ed Edwards was the suspect, I did more research, obviously, to be able to either confirm or dispute, which I definitely like. The minute I found out he was born in 1933, I'm like, oh, son of, get the fuck out of here.
This for a minute. Just think about
that out, I was like, you son of a bitch.
But really though, Augie, think about it. Come on, give me a little bit of credit. You had to know that I knew that. Also, it is still widely that Ted Bundy, and mind you, Ed Edwards is no Teddy, but it is also widely asserted that Ted Bundy may very well have committed his first murder at 14, but that was also on a younger child, not a full-grown ass woman, and that was Ted fucking Bundy.
Right. I mean,
I'm gonna draw pictures in the chat, guys. I'm so excited. I got my Ted Bundy tattoo.
Oh yay!
It looks amazing.
Really excited about that.
I'm excited to see. Congratulations.
Yeah, about it.
Cool.
I want to talk a little bit about Trudeau. I know we're almost out of time before Joel starts in on his. So it's getting late. Because I mean, if
you got 2 minutes to talk about Trudeau, dickhead.
I got all the time in the world. If you want to leave, you can leave. You're not even fucking recording this. So, but no, there's a bit of a controversy with Trudeau, and I kind of want to touch on it because I think it's because I don't like Trudeau, and this is kind of a ha-ha for me because I believe he's a fucking snake in the grass anyway. There's a company by the name of SNC Lavalin, Canadian-based engineering. Robin, help me out here with all of this because I know you know a lot about this too. It's a Canadian-based engineering and construction company that has donated a lot of money to a lot of different Canadian politicians. So they got their hands in politics over there. And I guess they have recently been caught bribing officials over in Libya. I guess breaking Canadian international laws and things like that. Which brings them under, this has gone to Canadian court, and now charges are being brought up against them. And there's some sort of program called like a deferred. What is the name of the deferred prosecution program, which I guess helps or kind of excuses your accusations or charges. Like it lessens them or lessens the penalties involved. And I guess there's certain if for you to be able to be eligible for that deferred program. And this woman who was at the time the acting, I want to say attorney general. I'm not sure if I have that title right.
Roughly, they're equivalent to the attorney general. Yes.
Right. I mean, it is Canadian politics, judicial system, so I'm not fully versed in this, but she's responsible for deciding who gets to take who is eligible and she will allow to take of the deferred prosecution program and who won't. And I guess she said, no, we're going to go ahead with prosecution. We're not going to allow the deferred program in this case. Apparently, Trudeau came to her and kind of insinuated that she should, reconsider, or that there's a lot at stake here, and essentially kind of gave his 2 cents, which is very much against the law over there. And she flat out said, like, are you interfering with my duties as acting attorney general? And, he's like, no. But I think given the circumstances and given what's at stake, like, you should think about this. And she was like, well, if you're not interfering directly, then I'm going to do my job and I'm going to stick with what I said. At which point he shortly thereafter let her go. So the optics here is that he was bought and paid for and went to bat to try and smooth things over for SNC. Because here's part of here's the major motivation on the part of SNC-Lavalin. Like, the question you might ask is, what do they care? What do they stand to lose? Why would it be a bad thing for them to be prosecuted and what do they lose? Well, the biggest thing, like, they can handle any sort of fines that might be levied against them. They're a pretty prominent and well-to-do like they're well established. But the fines aren't the major issue. The issue is if they are found guilty, not only will fines be levied, but they will be ineligible to bid on government contracts, which is a major part of their business, and it would devastate the company. So that's what they're vying for. Apparently, after they were found out, and after it was found that they were bribing Libyan officials and breaking international law, Canadian international law, as far as I understand, they went on a lobbying spree. In fact, it was the way it was worded when it was being explained in their House or Congress, whatever, was think of American lobbyists. That's how they said, like, think of American lobbying. That's what they did. So apparently, lobbying over there is much different than it is here. And SNC went on a spree where they were throwing tons of money around to a lot of different officials. And I guess it was for this specific purpose of fighting against these charges, not wanting to be even brought up and prosecuted. And, well, this is a scandal that I guess members of Parliament, Canadian Parliament, are calling for Trudeau to step down, to resign, as he has lost, how did they put credibility? The moral standing to turn, or something to that effect. I'm close, at least.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which, admittedly, I remember a year back or so, there was some scandal he was involved in where they were claiming that he was, didn't he like give campaign funds or something to friends, or he was allowing them to take advantage of government programs or something, and they were asking him like, have you spoken to the whoever, some committee member who's responsible for checking the I'm at a loss for words here because it's all Canadian and I can't fucking remember what it's, somebody's responsible for checking and making sure that you're on the up and up and you're not doing anything corrupt. And they were asking him, have you spoken to that person? And he, in the House, was himself, kept saying, I would be willing to speak to them if that is what is requested of me by the people and all that. And they're like, just answer the question. Have you spoken to them? And if so, how many times? And he would just keep repeating himself, I would be happy to speak to them if that is what the people, and it was just obvious. Like, dude, you are totally not, you're fucking corrupt. Like you are definitely trying to sidestep being caught at doing some shady shit. And that was like a year or more ago with something else. So now this is coming out and he's fucking going to bat for some, basically swinging his dick where it doesn't belong, trying to use his political clout to influence the outcome of a judicial case. And if this is true and it can be proven, which it seems like it is, the reason for him to, it is a legitimate grounds to have him removed. I'm probably not giving all the pieces. I'm not familiar with all the working parts here, and I'm dumbing it down to the nth degree because I'm anyway.
You did a fun of getting the basics. I mean, everybody, I think, understand what you're going for there.
Right. So, curious if any of you, my co-hosts, or anybody in the chat room, has anything to add to that, or what do you think about that? Like, I'm excited about it. I want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that would be great. It'd be, especially, I've got so many liberal friends here who, have always loved Trudeau as soon as he got elected because he's pretty, and that's it. It's just pathetic because they were all women. They're like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. And he's so progressive. And it would be lovely to see him go down and see them not say anything, of course.
Because, I mean, wasn't he a theater teacher?
He was a ski instructor. He was just a kind of a...
He taught acting in high school or something?
He basically just kind of fucked about, not doing anything really well.
And now he's what a story.
He used his name because of his father and his looks and got elected, and the left-wing ideology to get elected.
Yeah, I don't believe that was his father anyway. Dude, that's...
I know, right? Looks just like, what, Castro?
Yeah, Fidel Castro.
That is Fidel Castro.
One of my favorite
Jr.
conspiracy theories.
I'm telling you, dude.
I actually like.
Like, there are side-by-side photos of him, and it is fucking uncanny. I'm willing to bet if Trudeau just grew a beard, he would be just a pale Fidel Castro. He fucking looks just like him. It's insane. And as much as it's a conspiracy theory, it's not as wild or outlandish as you might expect if you understand the history behind who his mother is and how she spent time over there. She was there's a movie about a woman who was sent to Cuba to become a spy, and she ended up being seduced and fell in love with Castro. That movie is about his mother, who that's kind of her story. Like, she was sent to kind of spy and go against him. and turned out working for him, like she was bullshit, there is room that there was a romance between the two. There's definitely no there's no evidence to say that, you know, she did pregnant by Castro, but I'm looks just like him, dude. I know it's probably not true, but I like to think it is, because fuck him. So that's where I'm at with him. So I know we're 11 minutes past.
How dare you?
I kind of want to keep going, but if y'all gotta go, then I guess we oughta. I guess that's all the time we have. Besides, I want time with my co-hosts after. So thank you to everyone who tuned in. As always, you make the show what it is. It's amazing, and it's nothing without you. Also, thank you to my co-hosts. I'm so excited to have time. It's been so long because I'm still stuck. 2 days, 2 more days, and then I'm back on Facebook.
We cannot fucking wait.
I don't believe you. I don't believe. If Nicole had said that, it would have been. It would. I would have bought it. But since she was saying it,
if I didn't,
it's satire.
No. Listen
sarcasm.
to me. Augie, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't have made sure that you were thinking about me this whole week.
You fucking piece of shit, you.
Love you, Augie.
All right, you guys. Like I said, all the time we have. As always, this episode is dedicated to none other than Noah Valdez, who we all miss and love. He's somewhere in the Congo working on a case. And we'll see you next time. If anybody has, keep in mind, I want to say this before we end the show. I made a bunch of changes to this server. There's a bunch of new text channels. For those who haven't explored, it's been up and running long enough that there's actually stuff to look at in most of these channels. So they're all up into, you've got general chat. The war room is news primarily. There's a gaming channel. There's a book channel. There's a science channel. There's all kinds of things. There's a lot going on. So if you want to check stuff out, please do. Also, if you have any presentations, any recommendations or suggestions for the show, go to the bulletin board. Or I'm sorry, scratch that. Go to the study. That's the show sessions. If you'd like to volunteer to be a guest, if you have a topic that you'd like to recommend, please. We'd love to hear from our audience as ideas. So that being said, thank you again. Good night and go home. And to my co-host, I'll meet you in AdMod chat.